Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Steem Witness Chat on the Steem at Discord Ramble. I am Shadows Pub, your host and moderator this morning. The topic of the witnesses, who they are, what they do, and why it's important for every member of the platform to vote is a frequent topic during Pimp Your Post Thursday and is what has prompted this forum. I'm going to start off by asking the witnesses to introduce themselves, give a bit of an idea of what they bring to the platform as witnesses, and any comments they would like to make about their role as witnesses in the direction of the platform. After that, members of the community can comment, ask questions, raise concerns. The format is that of a group of people in a room having a conversation. Keep in mind when you're speaking that others are waiting. I am expecting polite and respectful discourse, which will mean I need to moderate very little. I'll remind everyone that witnesses are part of the community and have an interest in its success just like anyone else. The witnesses are not the whales. Some of them may be whales, but the two terms should not be considered the same. We are watching the text chat to try to catch questions, but there are no guarantees we'll get them all. So that gives us the basic idea. And we have a few witnesses here with us this morning. We have Injun Witty, Follow BTC News, Jack Miller, Rhonda Kay, who is part of the Sir Cork witness team. And we had Tim Cliff. He's apparently trying to get in. He may be having some audio problems. So let's start with Injun. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hello. I am Ingenuity, as some people call me. Ingenuity, Wit, EW. Got several different monikers. Pick what suits you best. I am the brainchild behind the Alliance. I have been on Steem for about 9 months solid now. I mean, when I first came in, I was still just looking at it and didn't really pay much attention until I dug in. I was first just going to use it as a advertising platform, but since I have been here, I see the power and potential in it going on into the future, and definitely want to be a part of that. I'm not what you'd call a technical witness. I don't do a lot of programming. I'm more of a social witness. I'm the one that you're going to see out there talking to everybody, shaking hands, kissing babies, all that good stuff. So yeah, welcome everybody.
So what do you see your role as a witness, you and your fellow witnesses? What is your role on the platform?
My role right now, I'm real heavy into curation. I typically don't put myself in the limelight. I like to put others up there on the pedestal. As for role itself, hang on, yeah, 1 second.
Definitely has the role of father.
I am the father figure. Yeah, you can call me the Godfather.
Okay, thank you, Injun. Follow BTC News. How would you like to introduce yourself now?
Well, good morning, everybody, and thank you for inviting us over to talk a little bit about witnesses today. Me and my partner, witness partner, Crimson Clad, we started being a witness, I want to say it's close to 10 months ago, 9 or 10 months ago, somewhere in that area. And we've done a few things as a witness. As far as the equipment that we run to help the Steem blockchain, we have one main witness node and we run 2 backups. And we run failover scripts. So that way, basically what that means is if something happens to our main witness node, the first backup will kick in. If the second backup goes down, then the third backup will kick, or the second backup, the third node, it will kick in. So the idea is to be as stable as we can on producing blocks so that we're not missing any. Our main goal, it's kind of split. Honestly, when I think about it, it's 2 different ways. Crimson Clad does a lot of community type work. She works in a lot of the Discord channels. Main one being the mental support, but honestly, I can't count how many Discord channels she's a member of. She's a member in a lot of them. She also helps out some on Steem.chat. Me, I do a lot more of the development side. I try to do stuff that will benefit Steem, not necessarily Steam it, but Steem, because I am interested in the Steem blockchain itself. Um, I do like Steem. Don't get me wrong, because Steem, it is the biggest platform bringing the Steem blockchain in front of people. But my main goal are building projects and tools that will help people learn about the Steem blockchain itself and to support the Steem blockchain. Just a few things that we've done. We built the Mental Support website. We built a Steem Block Explorer. Built a Steem Mentions tool. We built a tag and title keyword analyzer. What else? We took over Steem. Not took over, but we were handed over Steem.chat. Some of you may be familiar with. Riverhead deserves the credit for that. He started Steem.chat when Steem was first launched. And it came time, he was ready to move on to some other things. And me and Crimson Clad had talked about it, and we decided to go ahead and try to step up and to keep it up and keep it going. So Riverhead was kind enough to hand it over to us. Ned had wanted Steemit.chat to be renamed to Steam.chat, which I was absolutely fine with, because I believe by doing that, the chat's all about everything Steem related, not just Steem it, the web portal for the blockchain, but Steem itself. So everything about Steem. Well, somebody had bought that domain name a long time ago and was just holding it. I was fortunate enough to be able to contact a person, and he said he would sell it to us for 1,000 Steem. So we went ahead and bought it. But I will say this: Ned reimbursed me and Crimson Clad that 1,000 Steem for changing the name. So Ned is actually the person that I own the domain Steem.chat, but Ned reimbursed me the full 1,000 Steem for doing that. So I always thought that was pretty cool of Ned to do. Right now, we have two what I say are fairly large projects. One we've been working on about a month and a half. Another one we just started about 3 weeks ago. The first one, I'm hoping that is going to bring a lot more people to the blockchain. And it should be launched, I hope, next week. I don't want to say what it is right now because it's kind of like a surprise. We've been kind of holding back for a while. So but I look forward to hopefully releasing that this coming week, possibly Monday. Right? Actually, I woke up this morning and all we're doing is testing it right now. We've made a few pull requests. We made a pull request to Condenser, about a month ago. On the Tim Cliff actually brought this to our attention. It was to be able to upload on your settings page on Steemit, to be able to upload cover photos and avatars. Right now you have to insert a URL where it's hosted somewhere on the internet. Most sites you go to, you always have an option just being to upload one from your computer. So I was kind of surprised Steemit didn't have that, and I never really noticed it, but Tim Cliff did, and he had showed that to us. So one of our devs had went over there and made a pull request for that. So hopefully that gets approved pretty soon. Right now, I think one of the biggest issues among the witnesses for discussion is the SBD thing going on, where we're trying to figure out what to do about the SBD print rate and getting SBD pegged back at $1. Honestly, I think Tim's pretty good at talking about that. He's really good with that stuff. But that's all I got for now, and I appreciate everybody inviting us this morning.
Thank you, Follow. Do you see any particular challenges from a technical standpoint that the platform is facing now or in the immediate future?
Oh boy. Yes, absolutely. But I also believe they're being worked on. Um, it, One thing was the bloat of the blockchain, but we all see that is being worked on. So we don't have to so we don't have to spend, buy these $10,000, servers to host a blockchain on our nodes. But the Steem dev team are working on different developments that are going to help that. So most of the technical problems I see, that's one of the biggest ones, but I also see that it's being worked on. The other one is the onboarding of new users. That's being worked on. We all know about the spam accounts that a lot of them been created lately. So the Steem dev team is working on the faucet. Now, obviously, we can't know all the details because they're never going to release to the public the exact sign-up process, because if they did that, then, people could easily find an exploit easier. But they do tell us that they are coming up with better and newer ways to try to slow down these spam accounts. And I think with Hard Fork 20, hopefully we'll see an increase in the approval time, hopefully, or a decrease, I think is the better word, a decrease in the approval time to get people onboarded on the Steem.
Yeah, there's certainly been some challenges when the spam accounts can fly in faster than the legitimate accounts.
Yeah, I would like to actually, I was thinking about that when somebody posted some stuff about that a few weeks ago. So say, for example, we saw somebody create, I forget the names, but that, 1 through 100. So it was a username and then 1 through 100. So yeah, we seen the 100 spam accounts get created that day, but were there another 19,000 legitimate ones that got approved? So was that 100 spam accounts created on a day that 19,000 approved? So I'd like to compare and actually get the percentage of the total user accounts created in that same time period, and then get the percentage of spam accounts created in that time period to get a real number that might give us a better basis for that. You know what I mean?
Is there a way of actually tracking that? What's a spam account? What's a legit account?
Good question. As far as I know, the only way I see personally from my experience is looking at the names, looking at transfer histories, looking at the way they're voting, those type of options. And we all know there's tons of tools to see those type, Steem to being the main one, but then there's other tools where you can look at transaction histories and stuff. But the more brave ones are just creating, follow BTC News 1, follow BTC News 2, follow BTC News 3. Well, obviously those are spam accounts. So, those are easy to spot by just looking at Steem itself and looking at the approval accounts.
So it's more an educated guess as to which is which.
For us, I think so. Now, I don't know what Steem dev team has in place. Their faucets on GitHub, but behind the scenes, I don't know what their exact approval process is, so I'm not exactly sure what means they have in place to catch those.
Yeah, that's understandable. Of course, they can't tell everything either. Thank you, Follow. I see @David and Guilty Parties have both joined us. I know, at least I don't think @David wants to come on mic. If he does, he's more than welcome to. I know Guilty Parties won't, just because we'd like to hear him. So if either one of you has some text as an introduction, I will read that out if you want to drop it in. Jack, you'd be next. Jack Miller.
Hey, good day to everybody. Name is Jack Miller, aka @Jack Miller. I'm one of the youngest witnesses on the block at the moment. Almost about 6 weeks old now, or 6 weeks young. If I could just say something about Follow BTC News, which he was too modest. From what I've learned from other witnesses out there and from other people who are in the scene, who have been in the witness scene for a while now, Follow BTC News and Crimson Clad as a team, they were the people that actually did most, if I'll say a lot of, if not most of, the work behind the first PAL server that was set up, and where a lot of the communities actually started from. So, with all due respect, he was too modest. He spoke about the technical side of things, but they did make a lot of things possible for everybody. So that's one of the witnesses that, let's say, I, as a younger witness, as a newer witness, look up to and respect very much. And I'm not sucking up to him or anything. I'm just stating, giving credit where credit is due from what I've learned. So just being upfront and honest about it. Now that I've said that, I just wanted to make sure that I said that, because, like I said, the guy was way too modest for his contribution to this whole community. Personally, I've been an active member, and it was actually people like Follow BTC News, Ausbit Bank, Guilty Parties, and some others that actually got, and GMUX, even though he's not a witness right now, but he was one of the people that actually inspired me to think about becoming a witness and actually putting in the side of things that I saw was missing. I consider myself to, at least I'm trying my best to be an altruist. Now, that might sound romantic to some, but you can't stop trying. And I see that there are a number of things here that need to be looked at, improved upon. And I'll say it this way: when building a bridge, which what we're doing is we're building a bridge, we're building a whole new, technological boom out there. Steem and Steemit are just something that the world, which has the potential to change this world. But when building a bridge, you have one, from one shore on one side and from the other shore, and people from all different makes of life, whether they be engineers, whether they be workers, whether they be, architects, whether they be the politicians, whether they be the people who are going to be there, the user bridge. We all have to be a team and make sure that bridge meets up in the middle perfectly. Because if we don't work as a team, if we don't have the diversity in the witness scene, it's not going to happen. Simple as that. We're going to be listening to EOS and God knows what else in our chats and our posts out there. We're going to be listening about the competition all the time. I don't care about the competition. It makes me sick when I hear people talking about wanting to move over to EOS, or they are going to get onto EOS as well. I don't want to be part of the competition. Steemit/Steem is where I see the future changing and the potential to change everything on this earth, believe it or not. I've said it before, and I'll say it again. Bilingual posts, I fully support, let's say, the Spanish-speaking community. I can see them being a major driving force to changing this whole entire world, because a lot of the countries where Spanish is spoken, and I'm picking on South America right now, sorry. What that means is there's people there where $10 can really change, or $100 can really change their standard of life, and that's a world changer. Steemit is offering that. Steem is offering that. Other blockchains haven't. We've got the proof of brain aspect, and I was so impressed, and I'm so devoted to this now that I'm willing to spend whatever it takes and do whatever it takes to be a proactive and constructive witness out there. And I've also stated that I see witnesses as partners, not as competition. Now, I know that some people are going to say it's all about the money. Money talks. That statement to me is disgusting, because Steemit is a lot more than money talks. Cut a long story short. Also, now that I've become a witness, I've started getting more active on the actual bot side of things, getting things in place and trying to move forwards, and not just being an active supporter with my delegations to, support projects and other projects out there, but actually getting involved by actually starting up my own projects with other people as well. So I'm trying to get others involved where we can work together to make the communities better. So I'm at the first stage of being a witness, to be honest, and I feel like a small little witness, like a minnow among the witnesses. And I guess that's where I am. So, small baby steps to doing more and making more of a difference.
Okay, thank you, Jack. And okay, you've brought up the money topic, and I'm just going to state out here, this isn't about the witnesses making money. There's a larger number of witnesses that barely even cover the cost of running those servers for us than there is those that cover it, and those that do cover and make any kind of quote profit generally put a lot of it back into the community. So this is not a money conversation. Thank you, Jack. And moving on down the line, I will come back to it for a second. Nate DeVeris. Is he still with us?
Yeah, I'm just trying to...
Just introduce yourself, let us know who you are and what you do as a witness.
Yeah, hi everyone. Well, I'm Nathaniel, I'm from Venezuela, I live in France, and I run a Castellano Witness. Castellano is like an old word for Spanish. And, well, actually, my witness is not mine, it's a community witness. It aims to represent all the South American community. And, well, we're trying like to make a representation of the users and build bridges in between the capital and the minnows, the small users. A reality that Jack just mentioned was that well, with very little, with $100, you can live like 3 months thereabouts in South America, in some places in South America. So Steem is a game changer for many people in our countries. And sadly, we don't have the means to invest as much as the Koreans that got together and bought a lot of Steem. So some of us are trying. Some of us are doing what we can and that. And we have realized that, well, there's very little capital creating, there's very little VP operating on the Spanish side, and well, we're trying to raise awareness and to teach. I run a separate project, it's a satellite project from the Witness, which is like an incubator for educating good Steemians. Most people when they arrive to the platform and from third world countries, they come aiming to fulfill their basic needs. They don't think about it as a blog platform, as a social network, as a quality thing. They just see a means for a quick buck to make ends meet. And well, not everyone that starts like that is just that they haven't understood, and we went to educate them and avoid them making the mistakes of becoming miners of the Steem. And well, we try to empower them and give them the means to really enjoy the platform for what it really was meant for. And through Castellano, we aim to build bridges between the English-speaking side, which is where most of the stake is, and our little side, and we try to give support to small projects that are starting, and we try to do magic with what little we have. That's the truth.
Okay, thank you, Nate. So your witness account is actually Castellano?
Yes, Castellano.
Okay, thank you. Rhonda Kay, who is part of the 3-person team of Beans, Rhonda Kay, and Sir Cork, and the witness account is Sir Cork. Rhonda, how would you like to introduce yourself, please? And she may be having mic problems. Rhonda?
Well, Sir Cork is always down to talk.
Yeah.
Know that. You got that right.
Yeah, if Rhonda hasn't responded, she's probably having mic issues, so we'll give her a chance to fix that. And Cork, go ahead.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for coming. Good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. I am Sir Cork. I think we're witness number 65. ANCAP's probably throwing down the info in the channel now. I think we're producing blocks because nothing's blowing up or beeping my cell phone or my pager, which I don't really have a pager. Well, what's going on? I came in 10 minutes late. At the time, Jeff was talking, Follow BTC was talking. Best witness in the top 20, hands down, in my opinion. There's debates that will rage over who the most productive, useful, contributing top 20 witness member is. I got to hands down hand it to Crimson and Jeff. The things they do that people don't see are vast, and I admire them greatly, and they've been great friends of mine since I joined the platform last year. So anyone else that I see on the list here, I pretty much know and like that's here in the room, except Beer Stickin', who I've only talked to like once. I'm not saying I don't like him, I'm just saying I don't know. Good to see you. I'm glad you came because you're one of the longer term tenured witnesses, not in terms of being a witness, but in terms of being a user. So what's on deck? What do you want to know? Why are we here? What can I answer?
Right now, the witnesses are introducing themselves. So you've introduced a few of the witnesses. How about yourself?
Well, I'm a 35-year veteran of technology career life from the time I was 15 in a computer store in 1985 till now. I'm 49. I live in Richmond, Virginia, not far from Washington, D.C. And I've been on Steem since June of last year. In that time, I helped to build PAL from its third or fourth day of existence to about 5,000 members, and then left PAL and started Steem Star Network and the UR Hope Foundation. So I've got a worldwide blockchain-based, Steem exclusive, community-fueled humanitarian aid charity, basically, that's done, I don't know, we've helped over 1,000 to 1,500 people around the world in 12 countries on 3 or 4 continents, and provided fundamental human needs: food, hygiene, clothing, school supplies. There are backpacks on children in Ghana that have my name on them and UR Hope's name on them, and several prominent Steemians who donated. And then there's soccer jerseys in Ghana, backpacks in Nigeria. There's a school in Venezuela that has the Steem logo and the UR Hope logo painted in gigantic mural on the wall with dolphins and whales and minnows. All the work of the community here and Steemians on the ground, Agents of Hope. So I'm really proud of the charity work that we've created here in the community and what we've done in the last 6 months with that. And then Steem Star Network that you're listening to and watching right now, if you're streaming anywhere on YouTube or Twitch or VLC Player or steamstar.net or here in the Discord or in the Steem Star Network Discord bot. You can watch and listen to video full motion 24 hours a day. This is the second station I built. I built MSP Waves for PAL. Left it in the capable hands of Rondon and Globo to resign and create my own that wasn't community-based, but rather supports all the communities. And you'll find on our network shows from the Vote to Voices of the Underground Discord. You'll find on our network stuff from the UR Hope, from Patrice with Steem Cleaners, Nathan with Castellano. We've got a lot of great Steemians. Carrie Allen does a weekly show on Mondays called Mission Control, which is running a radio saga, an old-time space sci-fi thing that's awesome. And Friday nights, we got some great content coming up. Shows every day of the week now except Wednesday, and I have somebody that wants Wednesday. So live content every day and replays of that live content in between. Tune in, check it out. Those are major contributions that tie into Rhonda's and Bean's, which are part of our team. And Rhonda does the writer's block. She does Steem Shelves and Steem House Publishing. So she's all about getting voices on paper and print. And Beans, who has Voices of the Underground and At Feminism, is all about collective information sharing of cutting-edge technologies and science and crypto, and specifically focusing on EOS segments right now because that's on the horizon. And then Feminism, which she's just obtained, which is going to be a huge conversation about what is that all about. I don't really know feminism stuff. I'm a dude, but that's her world. It's all about voices. And then finally, a cool thing that just happened this week I'll wrap up with, that even my partners only found out yesterday, is I managed to contact My Name is Brian and obtain ownership of the Steem It Dead Followers website that's gone dead and dormant. And I'm going to bring that back to life, the Dead Followers site that'll tell you how many of your followers have not posted within a month, 2 months, 3 months, whatever range you want, have not voted in a certain period of time. Find out who's dead and dormant in your followers list, and then we'll Steem Connect, which is not currently part of the app, and allow you to just, unfollow people that are dead and dormant. And so, yeah, by hopefully next week or the week after, I'll have a revised version of the Steem It Dead Followers site. If you've seen it, it's the one with the colorful Latin decorated skull image in the middle of the screen. And thanks to My Name is Brian, who's gone dormant on the site himself, I contacted him and he made a deal with me to take that over. So that's now in our control, kind of like when Steem Chat went from Riverhead or Roadscape, I can't remember which.
Riverhead.
Jeff and Riverhead to Follow it. So we'll keep the apps alive for you. We'll get your voices to the world. We'll help you clean up your followers list so your voices are heard by the right people that are still alive. And that's our witness.
And who says the resurrection only happens on Easter? Thank you, Sir Cork.
Handcap's question, how do I sleep? I run about 30 to, and Kitty Girl's asking it again. I run an international company offline from Steem, which is a software as a service enterprise scale company. I'm a vice president, founder of that company. And it's been in existence for about 18 months. It's like $1 million market cap company with teams all over the world and clients everywhere. And I stay awake for that because I run overseas teams at night. I run 36 hours at a time. I'll sleep for 3 or 4 hours. Then I'll run like another 12 or 20 and do 4 hours, like random sprints. But I never really get more than 3 to 4 hours to sleep between meetings or reasons to be awake to engineer a radio show or work on software or whatever. So I have dogs that need to go out every 90 minutes because they're elderly. It's just my life is always in motion, fueled by coffee and a little smoking of the funny stuff and lots of cigarettes and passion for this and you and the platform.
Okay, thank you. So, Tim Cliff, then we'll go back to Versticken, and I have an intro from Guilty Parties. So, Tim Cliff, the floor is yours. Tell us about yourself.
Hi, can you hear?
I can hear.
Excellent. Hello, everyone. My name is Tim Cliff. I'm currently witness number 5. And first of all, I just want to echo a few things that some of the previous speakers had said. I agree. Follow BTC News and Crimson Clad are definitely one of the most active witnesses in the top 20. I continue to be very impressed with their work, and they're doing amazing things. So just want to echo that thought. And I also want to touch on what Jack Miller said just about us all being on the same team. I couldn't agree more. Kind of to go into a quick tangent, Bernie Sanders had posted something a couple weeks ago about how a lot of the witnesses were not doing, basically not doing anything or not doing much for the amount of pay that they were getting. And I left him a pretty long reply, but the conclusion of that was basically the solution in my mind is more competition. So people like Follow BTC News and Crimson Clad who come along, you know, they did not start out in the top 20, neither did I, neither did Jesta. And we're all people that have worked hard and demonstrated that we're adding value and moved our way up. I think the more people that we get in the witness community that are able to follow that path where they find things of value, they work hard, they do positive things, and over time they get noticed, that's really the solution to getting a more active top 20 witness community is basically for newer and better people to come in and replace the people that aren't doing as much. So a little bit about myself. As far as my witness position, I've been a witness for over a year now, and I've managed to make my way up into the top 20, which is pretty cool. I'm still, even though I've been there for a while, in shock and awe of the fact that I actually made it there. As far as my strategy for getting there, I think basically what I've always done is try to find the greatest need in the community that I'm able to help with and work on doing what I can to improve it. So my role over time has definitely changed quite a bit. The stuff that I'm working on today is a lot different than the stuff I was working on 3 months ago or a year ago, but I've always kind of followed that same pattern of just trying to figure out what is the best thing that I can do to improve the community and then pour my efforts into that. Currently, a few of the things that I'm focused on are I'm the main moderator for the help channel in Steem.chat, and so on a daily basis, I'm basically going through and reviewing all the support requests that come in from users and responding to everybody to make sure that their issues are addressed in the best way possible. I also do quite a bit of stuff behind the scenes. I've over the past 3 to 6 months, I've been reaching out to quite a few different exchanges and basically trying to petition for getting Steem listed. For those of you who don't know, getting Steem listed on more exchanges is something that in the long run is hopefully going to do quite a bit to get our market cap increased. I've been testing the app-based release that the Steem dev team put out, basically doing various tests on some test witness nodes to see how the code was running. I've also set up a test RPC server running the app-based code for any developers who want to be doing some testing on that. And I've also been involved in a lot of the Steemit-related development projects. I know, I can't remember who it was mentioned, kind of focusing on Steem as an ecosystem versus Steemit specifically. As a witness, I definitely think it's important to look at all the different apps in the ecosystem and all the different things that are communicating with each other, but I actually do tend to focus a lot of my attention on the Steemit related projects because I feel that the Steemit.com website, the faucet, and a lot of those things are kind of the main entry point into the community. And in my view, they still need a lot of work. And so I'm doing what I can to help a lot of those projects out. I work on a lot of pull requests for the condenser repository, which is Steemit.com. I've been very heavily involved in the faucet repository recently, which is basically what Steemit is using for their sign-up system. I'm kind of the bridge between the users in the help channel and the dev team to let them know basically where the pain points are in the sign-up process so that they can see what they should be focusing their attention on. Obviously, they're collecting their own data too, but I'm able to provide them a lot of information just about the overall user experience of the sign-up process based on all the feedback that we get in the help channel. I also am pretty heavily involved with a lot of discussions about changes to the platform, both publicly as well as in a lot of private channels with various witnesses in the dev team surrounding basically what is going to be included in the next hard fork, whether things are going to be considered good or bad changes. Someone also mentioned earlier there's a lot of discussions on the SBD, the PEG, and whether any changes should be made to that and what changes should be made to that. So I've been pretty heavily involved in a lot of those discussions, and nothing too detailed to share yet, but I'm starting to transition a little bit more into some development related projects. I've got a few ideas of some things that I want to be working on in the next 2 to 3 months. So no news to share yet, but hopefully over time that'll develop into something fun to share.
All right. Thank you, Tim. And for Sticken, how would you like to introduce yourself, please? Floor is yours.
I'm married. I'm taken. Somebody loves me. All right. How are you doing?
Not bad. And yourself?
Oh, I couldn't be better. I'm expecting insane great things from this insane great platform, blockchain, and all the cool people on it. I mean, it's all of you guys and all of our users that are the wallet here. You know, not all these duplicate accounts that are going around, but all of you individually are all super valuable. And this is the experiment, you guys. And you know, if you going back to the early days when the vision was started, and it's about that, you know. We are running a vision here. We're not running a business. We're running a vision. It costs a lot more money than to run a business. And this is a vision that is growing. Okay, we are watching the inner side of our eyelashes. What do you call it? You close your eyes and you look at Facebook and you wonder how come they have so many people over there. Well, people needed to connect to other people. But most of them are broke, right? Because 2008 happened and nobody really recovered. So we have a really broke world out there that don't need to be broke. They just need to prove that they have a little bit of brain power left. And that is this concept, you know, proof of brain. The only real blockchain that put that in. Every other blockchain has some sort of shuffling the cards and dealing it out, and, you know, some underdeveloped project and some ICOs we donate money to, like we believe it is the world, right? While others are sitting there and say, well, Ethereum is kind of, you know, Windows 95, you know, never really recovered. And then a lot of other different aspects of it. I am a witness because I want this network to work. I want you guys to have a place where you can say what it is that is on your heart and reach out to as many people as possible. Get as rich as you possibly can. You all got, I mean, I'm talking to future billionaires here. I hope you all gonna be friendly when we get there. You're all the future. I mean, you are all the established elite of the future. Let's put it that way. If you call any government anywhere in the world, they are like clueless. You know, they are so far behind the rest of the class in here that we are the leaders, okay? We are the onboarders. We are the people that talk to people everywhere about Steem, about graphene, about investing, about how to buy bulks, how to get in, how to get established, why to be patient and wait for SMTs, why SMTs is going to be the greatest scam in the entire world. At least that's what some headlines are gonna be saying. And I'd say be careful in what you invest in, because all of those SMTs are gonna require Steem, and not all of them are gonna be profitable. So be careful in what you invest in there. But we're basically opening the doors to Hell's Gate here, the Hell's Gate door, to allow everybody with the smallest amount of proof of brain. I'm not going to use Zuckerberg's word. He doesn't like his customers. He doesn't like his network. He doesn't respect the people. He's like in bed with, he's not in bed really with anybody. He's just like weird. And we are weird too, but we are the good weird. We are like the counterpart weird. We are the, okay, there is no party going on over at Zuckerberg. You know, come to Steem Festival. Let's have 1 million people come to Steem Festival, and just because we can, you know. The vision is billions of users. The internet is being built out as we speak. There are people now taking weekend. They've been working on stretching cables and making the internet bigger, moving into newer countries, newer economies, more towers. So by the time my commitment for the Steem blockchain is over in 6 years or something like that, I mean, can you believe it's been 2 years already? So by the time we're gonna get there, the internet has grown in size. I mean, there are more people at that point. So this is gonna be huge. This is gonna be huge. And remember, Steem is just a two-year-old baby, still just stopped wearing her shitting pants, right? She just started working, and we got to be good with this blockchain. We got to treat this blockchain good. We got to treat each other good. Tell hygiene maybe that it's time to stop masturbating and maybe start fucking around with other people also and have more fun about that. And learn to understand each other. We are from many different cultures and economic backgrounds and tormented countries and tormented backgrounds. I mean, so many people, and we're connecting the dots. We're connecting people. We're connecting families that are able to send money home, and they do. I employ at least 500 people here in Peru through my companies, and we have Venezuelans over here. I mean, we have so many people that are working that are from Venezuela. We're hiring extra people just to. Everybody's doing that. Everyone in Peru is taking their share. It's like, you know, I want to see what we have here in our culture here. I'd like to see that in Steem, and I see that reflected it. So, yeah, my heart is in the blockchain, and I work for the blockchain, you know, and that blockchain is getting populated. So, hello, boss. How are you all?
Thank you for
We're
sticking.
good.
I know that obviously you're the power behind the booster bot. Do you have any other projects that you're working on the platform?
Steem ads, advertising on blogs that are older than 7 days, so you guys can keep making money on your greatest post you ever made. Because you're making to-do posts, and they are getting views, they're getting hammered. People are looking for that. You're not making any money on that, and you can't because it's blockchain based, right? It'd be like mining Bitcoin on a block in the past, you know, still. So that's an economic sentiment there, and we can fill that now with the next fork, next update. we've tested it out. Inertia has been checking out things, what's going on the nodes. If anybody's been using any bot services lately, you might have experienced some abnormalities, and that is because Steemit Inc. is testing out some new nodes, and we feel it, and we rewrite all the software for that. So a lot of fun stuff is going on, and whatever the people want, whatever is has an ebb and flow to it, whatever there is circulation, we're gonna have a lot of fun. What you guys doing?
All right. Thank you for a second. Now, I do have an introduction here from Guilty Parties. He says, we're a team of 4. You mostly see just me in a social role. We create and empower community projects like the Veterans Project and SSG. We onboard veterans and others unwelcome elsewhere. We do development for Bro SPN at David Project. We have custom account creation delegation scripts because we know there are gaps in the onboarding process. I'm a Steam Cleaners member and been working nonstop on phishing, which is probably what you know me from, if not here. Every day I spend a few hours processing phishing victims, disinfecting their accounts, and getting them back on their feet. We've been more active on GitHub recently, although a lot of our work is not open source for reasons of potential misuse. We're not a popular witness, but we keep going as we feel that what we do is important. Everything the witness makes gets delegated to the community. We're experimenting with creating various front-end options and onboarding options that will be made public in time. And Guilty Parties has probably understated some of his involvement, as I know he's been a lot of support to a lot of individual people on the platform. So I haven't seen anything from Ask David yet, and he often prefers to remain quiet, so we'll give him his opportunity later. Oh, there's Ask David. If you have an introduction that you'd like to do, or maybe come on voice ads, or not, it's up to you. Would you like to come on voice and give us an introduction? You're the last on the list. Oh, no, you're not. Dracos. Well, I just do what I usually do. Now, somehow that sounds like Ask David.
I can sum that up. That is about sitting and complaining as much as you can about stink, really. Isn't it, Ask David? When it's good, though, I mean, he's pushing other front ends to, like, okay, this ads bastard is, like, always flipping around. Okay, I'm going to make something. And also, like, we have this post competition now. I mean, if you can impress Walden, he has one upvote from Booster that you can all go and try to impress. Well, maybe we should do the same with ATS David.
Yeah, I'd rather
and can impress him.
Dracos, would you like to introduce yourself, please? Or he is still there, isn't he? Yeah.
He's typing.
Yeah. Oh, it's too noisy. He's got family there. Dracos does a lot of helping on the platform. He's the person that set up and maintains the Steemian.info page that lets us get a much better picture as to what witnesses are active and what witnesses aren't, and where their positions are. So that's an invaluable resource in the community. So there we have it. I appreciate the witnesses that have shown up here this morning. Those are the witnesses that have introduced themselves. Now, the members of the community, you have opportunity to ask questions. One of the things that has brought this about has been during the weekly Pimp Your Post Thursdays that take place here in this Discord on Thursdays, twice on Thursdays. This topic of witnesses, who they are, what they do, and which one should I vote for, keep coming up. So that's the reason for this forum. So now's your opportunity. You've just met a bunch of people.
Shadows Pub Patrice is here too.
Patrice, are you here? Come on and introduce yourself.
Come on, Patrice. You can do it.
Yeah, she can do it. She's a radio.
She's muted. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning, Patrice. Go right ahead and tell us who you are and what you do.
My name's Patrice. I help run two projects, Spaminator and Steam Cleaners. Guilty Parties, as you mentioned earlier, has been very helpful in the projects as well. And that's about it.
She also
I'm
does
not good at this.
She also does a weekly broadcast in which she talks about her projects, steam cleaners, and some of the issues that go on there. Tim Cliff has made the comment, Patrice is another witness that is working hard, extremely hard for the platform.
You know, I'm very interested in what you guys do in Steam Cleaners, because we use you guys as a censorship service for a lot of things. And are you guys getting enough love?
Do you see yourself as a censorship service?
Yes, I do, because we have people that spam the blockchain with plagiarized content, and they are using services, and they are being flagged by Cheetah, Steam Cleaners. I mean, you guys have some, you know, what can we call it, traffic light power. Every time you make an upvote or a downvote, there's our bots react to that. You guys get to run traffic around Steam, actually.
Did you want to respond to that, Patrice?
Well, I don't see flagging spam and plagiarism as censorship. Steam it being censorship resistant, of course, anybody can view the stuff directly on the blockchain. I think managing spam is definitely not a form of censorship, and stopping all of the plagiarism and a lot of the copy paste, which ends up being a lot of duplicate content on the blockchain, as well as identity theft and deception, content deception. I don't really view that as censorship.
Me neither. It's like law and order in a way. We are a community, right? We're a community of people with mouths and thoughts, and we can talk and come to diplomatic solutions in stressful situations even. So we need to create our culture. And that's what you guys are a big part of that, creating our culture. Walden is a huge voice in creating our culture. We are a huge voice in creating our culture. And I mean, some law enforcement is something that we all need as investors, as co-owners of this great city.
And it's a very difficult thing to do because we get a lot of flack for either doing too much or not doing enough. And a lot of us like to err on the side of caution. We want to do what the majority of the good community is going to support. And we don't want to get into content moderation. And like you said, we want to develop a culture where people have a voice. So we want to try to stay out of original content decisions and flagging as much as possible, which isn't always easy. And a lot of the spammers have kind of started latching on to the fact that we try not to judge how much of a post should be original content and stuff like that. So it's a very difficult thing to try to tackle on a platform like this and be fair and to actually grow and encourage the community. One of the things I feel that we don't do enough, or we hadn't done enough actually until Guilty Parties started helping us out more with our time, is being able to take the real people who come to the platform, see all of this stuff on trending and that, and think, hey, I got to look professional, so I've got to start going out and copying and pasting stuff. And we really need to be more helpful in getting those people integrated into the community, find out what languages they speak, getting them involved with a group that can help them instead of just out there flagging them.
Right. It's going to be great for communities and SMTs in that regard for those reasons.
Okay, Anarcho Andre has arrived. We'll give him an opportunity to introduce himself, and then I see Dybitch has a question that she'd like asked, so we'll come back to that. Anarcho, go ahead.
Hey guys, it's Anarcho Andre. I am a witness. I've been a witness for now going on better part of a year. I've had to pretty much suspend a lot of what I've been doing on Steem just because law school has kind of taken over my life. But that's coming to a close with summer vacation on the horizon. So hopefully once summer hits, I'll be a little bit more involved. I'll be here a little bit more often. You can always reach me by private message, and I'm pretty good at responding. So, but thank you for letting me introduce myself, and I'm here to also answer questions as well.
Okay. Divich, what is the question that an anonymous whale wishes to ask? That always sounds rather interesting. Someone doesn't want to ask their own question. They need to come up with an economic scheme where making the most returns requires you to add the most value, like curating correctly and diligently. If it should beat vote selling and self-voting. If vote selling and self-voting are still the most profitable forms of returns, that's what everyone will do. Simple as that. You can't rely on the generosity of people to carry the economic system. It's irrational. Expect people to want to maximize rewards, just make sure the method of doing so brings value to the platform. It's a suggestion, it's not a question. Any of the witnesses want to respond to that?
Actually, can I comment on that?
Sure.
Can I second?
Sure.
So, there's a lot to dissect there. I just want to touch on two aspects of it. One of them is that ultimately the stakeholders are the ones who are going to decide where the rewards get sent. That's the way that the platform is designed, and the idea is that the stakeholders should be acting in a way that increases the value of the platform. I think right now we're in a little bit of a rut where tragedy of the commons has taken over a little bit, and a lot of people are seeing how they can benefit themselves in a way more than benefiting the community. And I've had a lot of talks with various people behind the scenes, including the developers and other witnesses. And my view is that really what it's going to take to solve this is going to be a shift in people's views towards downvoting. I think the large stakeholders of the platform are going to basically need to decide that they need to start downvoting the content that is not adding value to the platform. And that, to me, is what I think is going to address that core issue of the fact that there's a lot of, someone in the chat said parasites, just basically people that are taking value out of the platform and not putting the amount back in that they're getting rewarded for.
As David has asked, if there's any talks about rolling back hard fork 18 and 19.
There's always talks. I mean, there really aren't any ideas that are 100% taken off the table, but just as far as the people that I talk to, I think the consensus right now is that we're not planning to roll back those changes. I had a pretty long talk with Team Steem, who's another one of the backup witnesses, in a recent post just about the linear rewards versus n squared. And I know there's a lot of division over that. I know there's a lot of people that think that the platform was better before n squared. And it's really tough because those two different voting formulas have very different consequences, and there's trade-offs between them. It's unfair to say that one of the two is right and one of the two is better, because there's really difficult trade-offs that you have to make between them. And if we were to roll back those changes, essentially what we're doing is we're saying that in order to receive a large payout on a post, you have to get a huge amount of votes. And so a lot of the posts and comments that are receiving small amounts of votes from minnows or new users or whatever you want to call them aren't really going to be getting any payouts. And the unfortunate thing about the decision making of who gets rewards in a very consolidated hands of a few basically large stakeholders. And the consensus before the hard fork was done was that those the small group of whales, or whatever you want to call them, that was the ones controlling what got voted on, weren't equipped to properly distribute the rewards in a way that was beneficial to the community. And that's a pretty strong statement, and a lot of it comes into there are only 50 people and there's hundreds of thousands of accounts posting content. 50 people just don't have the resources to be able to view that much content. And I also want to point out that even when there was n squared rewards, a lot of the whales were voting very selfishly as well. It's not like it was this utopia before and then all of a sudden we switched and now it's just horrible. There were a lot of problems with voting where the large stakeholders would only vote on the same handful of users all the time. And I know that's to a large extent still true today, but what linear rewards has opened up the possibility for is the users on the lower end of the spectrum basically have the ability to pool their stake together and influence the rewards without being completely drowned out by the squared power of the larger stakeholders.
Okay, we're going to come back to the conversation in regards to the linear rewards or the non-linear. Versticken, you wanted to speak to the comments by the anonymous whale?
Yeah, can you repeat the question so refresh my memory?
The comments, just a minute, I'll scroll back. They need to come up with an economic scheme where making the most returns requires you to add the most value, like curating correctly and diligently. It should be vote selling and self-voting. If vote selling and self-voting are still the most profitable forms of return, that's what everyone will do. Simple as that. You can't rely on the generosity of people to carry the economic system. It's irrational. Expect people to want to maximize rewards, just make sure the method of doing so brings value to the platform.
Right, so it's a popularity contest essentially, and we will always, I mean, everybody in the competition that are actively playing in the competition, like Jerry Banfield, he's not building up the Steem brand, he's building up the Jerry Banfield brand, okay? And at some point, the competition is going to go towards that. People are going to have to realize at some point that this is the attention economy, that the entire core mechanism that is Steem is built around an idea that is called the attention economy. And Banfield, he has irritated most of everybody on this platform by being on the top trending. I know that because everybody come and complain directly to me because I'm on 17 hours per day, still answering questions and misleading people on the platform in every way I can. So
that sounds promising.
Well, you know, I mean, got to get to the right people and get those in, you know, and you know, hold. I mean, it's an art form, and very soon we are going to move the price up because we're going to onboard so many people that the demand will be sky high, and you know, everyone that is a whale now in 10 years will have reduced some of that holding as the price goes up, and we spread sell on the top, skim the cream, you know, like normal capitalistic systems are designed to do, because you have that involved also. We are in every way, shape, and form a system with communication lines, with an economy and a banking system that we are all part of. So I'm an owner of Steem, you're owner of Steem. We're basically brothers and sisters, all of us, in a weird capitalistic sense. We are all the owners of this baby, and we're raising it together. And other people are standing on the outside that have much more money in their pockets than we have now, or that we have had before. But they don't see it that way. They see it like, okay, Steem is 2 years old, and it went up, and it came crashing down to 7 cents, right? And now it has gone up, set a new all-time high, come crashing back down again to $1, $2, right? So you know, it's very visible that we have some strength here that is going to move. Remember what type of websites we are: DLive, DTube, Steemit, and so on and so forth. And we are not only trending on Steemit or Steem, whatever blockchain front end you prefer, but we are also trending on the internet itself. So there's a lot of people that are reading a lot of stuff that is Steam it. You go and search for shit on the internet, Steam it posts pop up on every search engine there is. You guys are really nailing it. I mean, if you're getting anybody's attention right now, it's everybody's attention right now.
Yeah, and that's something that maybe people need to think about a little bit when they're writing posts. I know that there's a tendency for people to write about hot topics on the platform because they think that'll get them attention. But they also have to keep in mind that writing on a range of topics gets you noticed in the search engines. It might not be right away, but it's going to come. So we've got a question here from the Kitchen Fairy, and she's asked, why are we only allowed to vote for 30 witnesses, too many good ones to vote, and not enough vote space to give? Where did the concept of the 30 witnesses, what's the rationale behind that?
You have to ask Ned and Dan about that, because that was before my time. Anybody older here? The Council of the Elderly Steemians.
Yeah, I don't know that Dan explained that in the white paper at all, did he?
I guess if you could vote for everybody, your vote wouldn't really count for much, would it?
Follow, you were going to say something there?
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't have an answer for that. Honestly, I'm stumped on that one. But I think a few of us are probably going to go research it some more. But I mean, I think Firstikin was made a good comment just now saying, obviously there has to be some type of limit. It couldn't be unlimited. It wouldn't work out right, the numbers. I know it uses, when you vote it counts your R shares. I don't know why the limit is exactly 30, though. I don't have an answer for that.
Yeah, I don't know that I really asked before.
Is the question why are there 30? Is the question why are there 30 witness votes?
Why only 30?
I know the answer to that. So it actually is kind of in the white paper in a tiny little mention, sort of a little. Basically, the reason there's 30 votes is that you need the general idea of Larimer's vision for the chain was in the technical requirements meshed together into that it required 20 witnesses to make that decision on a block fork, right, on a hard fork, and that you needed the extra witness as a backup. So in every round, there's 20 witnesses and one backup elected from the other 250 or 300 actives. Now, with that happening, the consensus was that as the platform scaled, that 30 machines, witness nodes, was enough to keep it alive if they were geographically dispersed and, blockchained up, right? So 30 machines, basic minimum requirement to boot and run the blockchain. We needed more. We knew they would come because there's money and so on to chase there. So we started with 30 because that's the minimum number of votes to ensure you've got at least probably 21 that are going to stay alive and not go dormant or dead. So picking 30 makes sure that you get like 21 total, at least for sure, blah, blah, blah. You kind of see where I'm going with this. That was the reasoning for 30.
Okay. We're just going to take a brief pause here. You're listening to the Steem Witness Chat hosted by Shadows Pub on the Steem at Ramble Discord and broadcast on the Steem Star Network. That's our little station break. So I noticed that Tim Cliff had responded to @David here, so I'm just going to read out his response. From a coding perspective, a lot of potential formulas besides n and n squared are off the table due to the complexity of the calculations. Also, I recently proposed a change to require a post/comment to reach a certain threshold, 0.1, 0.25, $1, etc., before it received a payout. This is basically introducing a nonlinear curve at the low end. The vast majority of people said that this would be horrible for new users who are motivated by the small rewards they get from getting voted on by other minnows. And I think that this is part of the reason that this is such a hotly discussed topic is there are a lot of views. So at this point, the mics are open. Anybody that wants to weigh in on this, go ahead. But just keep in mind that, there are other people waiting. And crickets. Nobody wants to.
I've got a handful of questions. If the witnesses are done.
Go ahead, Ann.
Hang on, I'm getting my notes open here. Shit. Hold on.
We're in trouble. ANCAP has notes.
Jesus, if you have notes about something that's serious.
Yep.
NCAP is serious.
S. David has responded that the N versus N2 argument about complexity doesn't hold much water in his opinion.
So, my first question, I guess, is there a consensus about whether, because it seems like there was some mention of like payout time on posts, and I'm wondering if there's any consensus on some ability in a future hard fork to set a duration on your posts. Some posts you like really only want up for 24 hours, maybe a contest post. Some posts maybe you want to leave up for a month. Is there any consensus on being an ability to set a payout time on posts?
Is that even up for discussion, or has it been up for discussion on being able to
It's
choose?
an interesting idea.
Yeah, so there actually have been a few people that have talked about it in the context of SMTs. That's one that I would say is not off the table yet, but it would be a significant effort for the development team to code, and so I don't think it's necessarily something that's going to be implemented anytime in the near future.
Would like to see some experiments done in the SMT on that, because you can regulate the core economic structure in your SMT, and it will, as far as I'm concerned, a turnkey Steem for you and your friends, you or your company, you and whatever, your personal Steem with your personal SMT in.
Does that answer your question, ANCAP?
Yeah, thanks. And I mean, honestly, I know jack shit about the coding aspect. So if it's actually too complicated to do, then that is as good an answer as any.
And is that the extent of your notes?
No.
Carry on.
All right. So we've had a few discussions about dead witnesses and particularly inactive users voting for dead witnesses. What do you guys think about like an expiration date on your witness votes, say 3 months, 1 month, whatever the consensus is, whatever seems like a good idea. But what if like people's witness votes expire after a certain time? That would seem to eliminate all the like, you know, former people who there's apparently a bunch of people, inactive accounts or even active accounts, voting specifically for inactive witnesses to prevent other people from getting into the top 50. And that's fucking with my mind.
And Kat, can I jump in? Because I think we've talked about this before. So I did a bunch of research on this, and my results are inconclusive. But let me tell you what I did real quick, how I derived results and what they were. What I did was I was concerned that there was actual collusion going on, potentially, allegedly, that said that these inactive voters and powerful voters were all chain voting the same witnesses who primarily were the dormant and dead inactive witnesses, which are not producing blocks, but are indicated as connected to the chain. And so what I looked into was cross-connectivity of people and witnesses that were dead in the top 100 and the top voters above 100 megavests, which is complicated to explain. We'll get to that later if it's necessary. But the amount of power they have against the votes, against the people and all the things, and lined it all up in a spreadsheet and did the stuff. And what I found at one time when I started was there was clear evidence that like the same dozen people of great power were voting the same 17 dead witnesses in the top 100. And the reason why that's important, witnesses will tell you, well, those guys don't produce blocks. You have an active number and your actual number. And as at 65 myself, I'm processing blocks like I'm 61 or 60. That's fine because the dead witnesses above me. But those dead witnesses are keeping me off the Steemit Inc., Steemit.com top 50 voting page that you all are sent to from the menu of the most used application interface. And so as a result, below 50 at 65 where I am, I'm struggling to be seen with the projects I do in this competitive race to get to the decision-making seat. So as a result, we're not on the top 100 page, and the thought was there's collusion to ensure that a certain elite few get to stay up there by blocking the road with roadblocks. So I did this research, and it so looked clear as day. I was like, oh, busted, I got this. I'm going to go public. Let me just get the better graph drawn. And then I watched what happened over a couple weeks, and many of those 18 dead witnesses that had been dead for a month or more came back to life. I got more information out of witness channels as I dug into this a little bit and found out they were gone because they were developing AppBase or HiveMind or working on Shane updates or new apps or things that kept them busy, and their witness server went down, and fuck all, that doesn't matter because that 100 Steem of income is irrelevant compared to this $10 million app I'm building right now. And so I learned more and I watched it change. So at the end of the day, my results are inconclusive, but there is some evidence that NCAP's allegation that dead witnesses are voted by dead users totally true. How do you unstop that? It's very uncertain. Expiration dates, my recommendation, 90 days. A server goes inactive for 90 days. It's not shown on any list anywhere. And second of all, that Steem and Inc. 2 updates to their page. Show the top 100 and show which ones are dead. Thank you.
Well, because, you know, a bunch of you saw my post when I brought this up a few weeks ago, and my source for that was Ingenuity, and I flip my shit. So if I'm overreacting, I apologize. But if 37.5% of the witnesses on that list are inactive and 11 of the top 50 are inactive, that alone is a serious problem. If whales are actively keeping dead witnesses in the top 50 to prevent folks like Sir Cork from moving up, that's like, we need to fucking deal with that right now.
Can I jump in here?
Let's hear from some of the other witnesses how they feel about this. Was that Tim Cliff?
Yeah, I'll take some hate here because I'm probably going to have an unpopular opinion here given the fact that I'm quote unquote at the top. When I started out as a witness, I was at the bottom just like everybody else. It took me months and months and months of campaigning to even get into the top 50. I want to say a few things on this. One is that the witnesses that are inactive are not receiving any blocks. Even if there were thousands of inactive witnesses taking up positions 51 through 1051, whoever was at position 1052 is going to get just as many blocks as if those inactive witnesses weren't there. The only thing that we're talking about as far as the inactive witnesses is the presentation of the witness list in the places where people are looking at who to vote for. And I emphasize with the fact that when you're not in the top 50, it's harder to get votes. But I've made a comment to somebody that if you're not in the top 50 yet, it's not the platform and the UI's problem to solve that. It's your problem as a witness to get noticed. I think everybody knows that in order to make it into the top 50, you pretty much have to get recognized by some of the key stakeholders in the system. If you get thousands of minnow votes, that's not going to get you anywhere. And the actual stakeholders who care about who the witnesses are and are actually voting on people, they're not paying that much attention to who shows up in the Steemit.com witness list. They're looking at what are you actually doing for the platform. And there's a lot of witnesses. Follow BTC News is a great example that have easily, well, quote unquote easily, climbed to the top just based on their merits alone. I think the witnesses that are very focused on the fact that we need to make changes to make it easier to climb, in my view, are focused on the wrong aspect of it. The witnesses who want to climb need to be focused on adding more value to the platform and convincing the stakeholders that what they're doing is worth their vote.
Now, on the other side of that coin, Tim, and we're hearing this in the conversations that are taking place in PYPT and elsewhere, is that a lot of the people on the platform want to take a direct interest in voting for witnesses, but their problem is their lack of information. And part of that lack of information is when they look on the list and they only see 50, yet they hear there's 200 witnesses. They want to be able to see who's there and who's active. So why not have an interface that allows them to see that?
I'm not that opposed to it. I think any of the witnesses that find it important, they should have the technical ability to submit a pull request. Someone can change the condenser repository to show 100 witnesses, but one of the things is that if they do that, they're also going to want to make a change to show inactive witnesses. And if you show the inactive witnesses, because there are a decent amount of them between 51 and 100, now you're adding more complexity to the end user experience for the Steemit.com website, which is supposed to be kind of the newbie platform for people getting started. Now all of a sudden they have to learn about, well, what's an inactive witness? And it's in my view, I don't really support the change, but I'm also not necessarily going to fight it either. And Condenser is an open source repository, so anyone with the technical skills can submit a change if it's really important to them.
Okay, then if you don't want to add complexity to the Steemit site, why not just have it linked to the page that Dracos has set up?
Yeah, if inactive, why list them? Navarez is right. The other question is, Tim, I thought you actually submitted this change request to go to 100 once before, and it was shot down. Is that not true?
No, that's not true. I
thought you did. Somebody, I thought, had submitted a change request to go to 100, and it was sort of just ignored.
I actually was probably the one who fought against it at the time. I think someone opened an issue or pull request, and I made the argument that it's not necessarily a good change to make. I'm at this point at the point where if someone wants to submit it again, I'm at least not going to comment to fight it, but I've at least expressed my views that I personally don't think it's necessarily a good thing, but I'm entitled to be wrong.
Well, what's the negative? The confusing UI. So we leave the inactives out because they can't be useful votes anyway.
No, you can't leave the inactives out.
Because
an inactive witness is still an active witness in the sense that they can activate their witness node at any time.
So
If you have, no, it's mispresenting information. If there's a witness at position 52 and they have the votes to be at 52, the community needs to be presented with the fact that there is a witness there. It can be argued that it's a security concern if you hide all that information from the majority of users, because they might not be aware that there's a whole bunch of witnesses that are basically right below the queue that could jump in at any point in time.
Granted, so I'm going to say this in wrap so we can let other people talk. Tim, here's where I feel we can agree to disagree, but this is a great lesson to everyone listening in to witnesses with some influence at this point. Even though Tim is far higher up the food chain than me on the list, people listen on the radio and stuff, and we get to talk to people. So you have two opposing views. I almost want to encourage more of that in the top 20 and in your choices as you vote, that you don't get in an echo chamber and hear out both opinions and make your own decisions as you research and pick. So thanks, Tim, for the little bit of debate there. We'll agree to disagree. I think that everyone should have the equal chance to be heard. Part of my whole platform is a witness.
I'd like to add on top of that since me and Crimson Clad moved into the top 20 position gracefully about a month ago, there are major and tons of opposition views in the top 20. Lots of debates, but good debates, like you just suggested. Two opposing views, and witnesses debate and list pros and cons, list the it's really amazing. I've seen a lot of stuff, and this is a matter of fact. Let me find the GitHub link, and I will paste one that's open for everyone to view right now. I mean, it's fully transparent, and it's on the SBD print rate. But there's a lot of great talks going on GitHub about the SBD print rate, and you have a lot of the top 20 witnesses, top 30, top 40, top 50, top 100. It doesn't matter. Anybody can go to GitHub and get in the conversation. So it is good for opposing views, absolutely.
Can I also throw in there that team witnesses, like yours with Crimson Clad, mine with Beans and Ron Decay, and the others like Curie and OCD and so forth that are group witnesses, are a good idea because you get a consensus in a bunch of minds. If you have 3 and 4 person teams in the top 20, you've actually got like 80 people weighing in, voices representing the community, and you get a consensus and you go, and we do debate, and it's not always fun, but it's always for a positive outcome.
Well, looking at the diversity of personalities within the top 20, even let alone the top 50, I'd be kind of surprised if there wasn't a lot of debate went on. So I get what Tim was talking about in regards to the necessity of leaving the dead witnesses on the list because they could become active again. So I'm going to suggest to the witnesses that are present, 1 is or more, put in a pull request that Steem Inc. put the page that Draco's created up as the witness page so that people can see a clear picture as to what witnesses are what. That solves any complexity.
Can I jump in for a second?
Go ahead.
I might be a new witness here, but one of the things that I really am picky about is democracy. And in the last few weeks, we've seen 2 witnesses actually resign. Literally resign. They made it very clear, they put it in writing, they no longer are witnesses. Yet they are still listed there. And sure, now let's go to the democratic point of view. You know, we're talking democracy here, we're talking voting. When a person who is a representative of the people resigns, that's it. They have to get re-elected again at the next elections. They don't have their votes count for them from the past elections when the next elections happen, whether that be a 90-day period or a 120-day period. So looking at it from a democratic point of view and from the morals and foundations of a democratic, free society, a liberal society, all those arguments about they might come back, sorry, that's just pure and utter BS. I'm looking at it from the humane, democratic, Western social aspect of a free society. Where on earth does a person resign and then say, oh, I just changed my mind, I want to come back and all my votes from my past elections count again? So all this talk about we can't do this or we can't do that, that's an utter load of rubbish. 21st century. Yeah, sure. You can say it. I don't, it just doesn't hold water. The second thing that, just a second, the second thing that Ankit Barbie mentioned was dead voters. Now, I've spoken with Sir Cork about this, right? Just typed away a little bit here and there. He's looking at it from the top, from the whales down. I've actually, in the last 2 weeks, I've done a little bit of homework and started looking at it from the bottom up, from those people with 10, 20, 30, 50, 60 SP who were once upon a time registered here on Steemit and who were using Steemit. Many of them never used Steemit. They just registered and have nothing, maybe a few upvotes here and there. Yet their votes are still valid for infinity. In what democratic society do we have politicians, representatives, whatever you want to call ourselves, witnesses being voted for, and the vote lasts forever? So what we're doing is we're actually rigging it so that those who have been witnesses for the longest period of time stay up there forever because they'll have X amount of millions or thousands of hundreds of thousands. Let's say in 2 years' time when we have 5 to 10 million users on here, we've got maybe 1 million dead users who are never coming back again, and yet their vote still counts. So that's not democratic. That sounds like something Saddam Hussein would have done if he ever wanted to do a mockery of a democracy in his country when he was the leader, to show that he's a democratic leader. So I'm sorry, but that doesn't hold water either. So to answer Ankit Barbie's question, some of us, and I'll speak for myself here, and I've noticed that some other people have said, yes, I agree with that. We've actually gone out and messaged a lot of these people who have been witnesses. Some of them have come back to us, to me in particular, have come back to me and say, oh yes, I'm no longer a witness, I don't plan on being a witness, for whatever their reasons may be. I never judge a person, they're individuals. Cut a long story short, they're still there, and I've told them, can you go to the trouble of please telling your voters to unvote you if you're never going to be a witness again, if you've resigned as such, because the system doesn't have the capacity to do that automatically. So when we think about it from a democratic point of view, this isn't a democracy. This is heading towards a dictatorship, if we're looking at it from that angle. That's all I have to say on that one.
Okay, we've kind of got 2 topics happening here. They're interrelated, but they're 2 topics. One is how the witnesses are displayed so that we as the community, when we come to look at them and decide who we're going to vote for, we know that they're active or inactive. The other one is whether those votes, especially on the inactive witnesses, will remain active. That's kind of 2 topics, but they are interrelated. So in the first topic, when I made the suggestion about putting Draco's page from Steem It Inc. and going to the GitHub to get that accomplished. Patrice commented in the text here that that could be put as an alternative view and display it prominently. As David's commented, yes, there's no reason why they can't have a different color, indicating that a witness is inactive or offline. And then a little bit further down here, I noticed Draco's made a comment, and that was kind of interesting because it applies to both of these topics. There's also the option to implement a resignation in the code itself, so when a witness definitely wants to stop, he can release all the votes for him on the blockchain directly. And that's an interesting possibility, because it does kind of solve the issue. Either the person's resigned or they haven't. So that has an interesting possibility there as well. I want to bring to attention here that we do have another witness in the house. I hope I have pronounced this correctly. Madieri, is that the correct name? Would you like to introduce yourself, or do you prefer not to come on mic? Give her a moment to respond in text if that's where she prefers to.
I'll just chime out loud that I said in chat. I love that idea, Dracos. That's genius. Released by the owner of the votes. Brilliant. But then again, what if they don't?
Some of the can I step in for 5 minutes?
Sure.
10 minutes maybe? Yeah, but some of the witnesses that truly decided to stop, I can give you a few names. Yeah, Gmogs, RHAG, Roadscape, Waku, and a few more. They made it clear that they wanted to stop, but their name and their status and their rank is still up in the system. Although they may show as disabled, the end user doesn't know if they are disabled. And they keep getting votes from users who don't know how the system works 100%. So we really need to find a way to make sure that, to make it clear to the users that such witnesses aren't there anymore. And one idea that just came up to me is like introduce a flag or a parameter in the blockchain to show, to first release all the votes that these witnesses get, or to just put a flag and to tell everyone that, hey, we're not witnessing anymore. Because not everybody is gonna go read all the blogs of each of the 200 witnesses that exist. So we need to make it easier for the users to be aware of what's going on. And I think this could be done easily with the condenser code and with the blockchain code itself.
So would one or more of the witnesses undertake to submit that to the GitHub for consideration? I guess the other question is, what is the process for submitting to the GitHub? Does it have to be a witness, or can it be anyone?
Anyone who can submit.
Sorry.
If I can just add, Dracos, that's a good idea. However, as Sir Cork mentioned, what if they don't? So again, looking at it from a democratic point of view, what vote is for infinity? What democracy out there, what representative isn't given a term? What vote isn't for a term of representation, a term of service, a term of being in parliament, or whatever you want to call it? So basically, we're getting back to the idea of somebody votes, it can be valid, I'll just, for argument's sake, just for an example, say 90 days with a 30-day grace period. And in that 30 days, after 90 days, they get a little message on their screen saying, would you like to re-vote the person that you voted for? Would you like to confirm your vote for the next 90 days?
Wallet memos, because that way it can be in every interface. Put it in the wallet memo so it can be busy and chain. Well, chain doesn't exist anymore because we're hired. But wherever.
If I'm hearing what Tim Cliff had to say, he's not with us anymore. There seems to be a concern about introducing complexity. I'm not too sure why that's a concern. Is it making programming that much harder, or is it going to become an impossibility?
No, his comment was about user experience complexity, not technical development complexity. It's easy to pull a longer list and filter it red on a color.
Okay, speaking of
understand that was his point.
Speaking of complexity,
Go ahead.
speaking of complexity, anyone can just go read the FAQ or the white paper and tell me if it's not already complex.
True.
So, in my opinion, it doesn't add. It's already complex, okay? And I tell it to all the minnows, all the new users, when they join with they have stock accounts and so forth. I tell them it's a difficult platform. Please go read how blockchain works. Read the FAQ 3 or 4 times if you need to understand how Steemit works. And despite that, they come back again with the same problems, with the same concerns. So yeah, it's an education. It's a tedious curve to get everybody to understand how this thing works. And I think with time, people will, as they learn more and more and practice more and more with this platform, they'll understand it, and it'll make things much easier than they are now. But right now, there's a lot of modifications, a lot of new things coming, old things removed. It's very dynamic. It's moving. It's moving, and it takes time to get everybody on board and understand what's going on.
Providing more information has usually never led to things getting more complex. So making longer data available, more information, linking to Dracos' page from the Steem and Inc. page or other sites instead of using theirs. Lots of ways to attack this, and we should, because providing more information never hurt anybody.
As David has commented, that it's more complex for the end user to have to hunt down third-party website information, and there's a point to that. If it can be there right where people can read it, it does make a bit of a difference. Sorry, ANCAP? Go ahead.
I mean, I live in New York, so there's always trains and sirens. My apologies. There's usually about a week waiting period between the time you sign up and the time your account's approved. It seems like a fairly, and correct me if I'm wrong, but it seems like a relatively simple, elegant solution just to, make an email or some contact with the new applicant to the platform that says, hey, this is important, this is important, this is important, make sure you've read this. I mean, nobody reads the end user license agreement, right? But that's on them at that point. I don't expect everybody to go and read and understand the FAQ in the first day because it is really complex. But something like the importance of witness voting or the importance of not posting copyrighted content, that information is not prominent enough for new users. And I can say that I've only been on here 3 months, but my first week or so, I was posting pictures just off Google Images because I didn't know any better.
And someone mentioned just now that Steemit should make a crash course for all the newcomers. I agree with that, and I actually, because we have problem with the signups, that people always mess up with their passwords and their usernames, and they lose their passwords just a few minutes of getting on the platform. And I had a discussion with Tim Cliff about that, and a discussion with Sneak. And I told them, okay, let's send them an email and teach them about the importance of the password, how to preserve it, how to deal with it, how to secure it. And as far as I'm concerned, it hasn't been done. And I even wrote a big paragraph that they can use in their email, but I don't think they implemented that. So on one hand, we try to make things better, but on the other hand, things don't get necessarily added as we like. I don't know why. That's up to Steemit, so I can't answer that question. I wish things were better, but they're not.
And one thing that is important is to separate Steemit from Steem, because you're complaining about a website, and I'm not a witness for Steemit Inc. I'm a witness for Firsticken Inc., and I have my own personal interest in being on this blockchain. And I have my own personal interest in seeing that this is not going straight downhill. So there is something to be said about being patient about some things in status quo as well. Gonna change the world. We cannot change the world every freaking day. We have a vision. We have a roadmap. And we have a general vision of where we're going. So stopping up and complaining about steemit.com, the website on the internet, when we are working on blockchain technology, which is all the shit that you don't see, that is under the hood, that is basically writing and rewriting and rewriting and rewriting software and drivers and software and more fucking shit, putting it together, because this ship is becoming big ship. It's super big starship, and we are the Starship Troopers, and we are not going to the fucking moon. That's for the Bitcoin retirement center. We're going to Saturn, where no people have ever set their foot before. So the vision here is a grand one, and we need to get there, and we are going there. We are going there. Check out D-Live. See what's going on.
Yes, but the thing is, whether we like it or not, Steemit is still the main player in this Steem blockchain, because they're writing the code, they're approving the pull requests.
They are not the only one writing code. Check GitHub. At least know what you are talking about. Go and check GitHub. See who is doing shit on GitHub. If you don't know how to do that, we can always render a visualization of it and put it on YouTube.
Okay, so who's writing code other than Steem Inc.?
Can I speak?
Sure.
So something I realized in this discussion and in the witness chat is we always are bitching about Steem Incorporated, but it's in our hands. Anyone can modify the condenser, anyone can provide an API, anyone. We just need to do it. It's not the responsibility of Steem Incorporated. Steem is not the Steem. So
I prefer that core changes are being played in an environment. Give me 1 minute to speak without echoing, please. In an environment that is safe, a sandbox. So many of these SMTs that are coming out in the next 2 hard forks are gonna be just that, sandbox experiments to find other consensus models that we can actually put into Steem. I'm not willing to risk my investment in Steem over some stupid, hard-boiled ideas that just have to be bulldozered through because some people cannot wait for the dinner to be ready.
No, but I'm sorry for a second. That's not what I'm saying. We have a blockchain that's just a bloody database where we store the posts and the transactions. So the interfaces is what changed, and everyone is bitching here about the interfaces and how they work. The only thing is the removal of witness votes over time and blah blah blah. That's a transaction. But the rest is all interface issues. It's like everyone, they fuck up the API and then Steemit.com is broken and we have to go and find whoever made the condenser.
No, nothing is ever broken. It is called progress. We are actually doing upgrades all over.
You know what I mean?
No, but it is important for our culture that we are participating in an open source. Everyone is visible thing. It's important that we know that we are actually moving forward. Okay, we're gonna see new sceneries. We're gonna see new changes. If you have a bot, congratulations. You're gonna have to rewrite that software because we're gonna change things, and that's how we are moving forward. Nothing is broken. We are building something here. Okay, Facebook is broken. That has been built, and people are coming to where we are building. You understand?
Okay, I think both Versticken and Nate are basically saying the same thing in that we have to be mindful when we're talking about what is the Steemit front end, which is what the website that we see, and what actually is going to affect the blockchain. Now, as I understand it, Dracos, your suggestion about there being something there for witnesses to actually retire so that they come off of that list, that would have to go into the blockchain. Would I be correct on that?
Yes, correct.
Okay. As to how the witnesses are listed, that's website. So we were on 2 topics, interrelated.
And who writes the website? Steemit Inc.
Yes, they do.
That's my point to Versticken is whatever happens, it has to go past Steemit Inc.'s approval. If they don't approve the change, it's not going to happen. So your blockchain can stall if Steemit is not listening or implementing the changes that the user is asking for, correct?
Well, see, there is a trust issue about logging into other front ends. Some of us that were early remember still how it was to be locked out of accounts and having to deal with people that were literally hacked because of one little exploit that affected 500 accounts or whatever it was. So there is a trust issue around front ends. And that is not going to, that's another thing in this attention economy. You can write a really good front end, but I will still not log in with my account and do anything cool on your front end if I do not trust you. So.
Yeah, but what is a market? It's a relation between debt and trust. So you're speaking of trust. Trust is built. Trust is built on your actions. Trust is built on what you deliver. Trust is built in what people see you doing. So
and trust is lost in a second along with people's money.
What it exists, and you manage to build trust, it will happen. What's the reason this coin has any value at all? Because we believe in it. Because we are willing to exchange fiat money for give fiat money and get Steem, because we trust the blockchain. So it's the same. It's the same. Why some people trust Steem Connect V2? Why some people trust the witness condensers when the main site is down? It's a non-argument what you're saying. Trust.
Guys, we wandered off from where Dracos left to Dracos, and to respond to what Dracos said, there's a reason why Steemit Inc. has a vested interest in the future of the 20. And we talk about hard forks and condenser, and what we mean is condenser is the Steemit Inc. UI, UX experience, the blogs, and then the Steem chain, Steemd. And so what we're talking about here is that if Steemit, who wants to roll out SMTs as a corporate entity, roll out SMTs to the world, Steemit Inc., a centralized owner of SMT code that will then, I guess, be open source, just like the chain was. Well, they got to make sure that the hard fork it requires for SMTs to even exist occurs. And for that to happen, they have to have a consensus of the top 20. I think it's 13 or 15 who have to vote in favor of having SMTs at all before we even get them.
For a second, you said 17?
17?
Yep. Okay.
I don't know the 17.
17.
Yeah, I trust it. I exchanged my trust for his value there. And, so anyway, keep in mind, vested interest, millions of dollars at stake. The top 20 have a lot on their shoulders. Some that got there by merit, some that got there by history and tenure, some that got there by money. Everybody's got a motive, and there's one that's very important, which is that SMTs won't go forward unless 17 of them vote for it.
Okay, as David has made comment here, he says Steemit front end is crap. We all know this. But the real problem is that incentives are not aligned properly. Exploiting spamming has been made more lucrative. Accountability is nearly non-existent. These are problems with the blockchain protocols, not the front ends. Who is talking about these misaligned incentives? We all see the increase in exploits, spammers, shitposts, disengagement, but we talk about website design and SMTs. Okay, David, I'm going to challenge you. Come on to Mike and tell us what you would like to see happen. Come on, David. You've got ideas, and I'd really like to see them communicated.
On the mic too.
Okay, he says I won't be on mic, but I can tell you. It's easier to communicate if you come on mic. I don't know quite why you're not, but
he knows that.
Yeah.
And it's very easy to just criticize all the time. And I haven't seen much other than criticism for the year and a half I've seen you at, David.
I would like to see his ideas as to what the solutions are.
Yeah, draw a picture for me. PowerPoint, whatever. Paint. Just make a little visual so I get a little understanding of how you see things from that David perspective. because it must be so amazing, but you fail at explaining it to me, so I cannot see your vision.
Well, I don't think his comments are too far off base as far as the problems we're seeing. He's right on that. It's just that I would like to hear what his possible solutions are.
We all would.
Yeah.
Well,
Maybe to dump down to 7 cents so we can buy in and become a big whale for very little money. I mean, people do have motivation in getting in at a cheap price, you know. Don't forget that. I'm a greedy fuck, you know. So are you, I bet.
Thank you for being here, Follow, and I kind of think that this is a conversation that's going to go on a regular basis. As long as people are interested in talking.
I'm sorry I have to leave so early, but I appreciate y'all having me on the show today. And I look forward to coming on again if I'm invited.
Every witness will be invited.
We appreciate you being here too, by the way. Follow BTC News.
We sure do. ALX says he'd like to see a vision that has a chance in the long term to reach for any popular adoption, and great content creation seems to depend on the citizenship of Steem. We could use the People's House in addition to the Witness Senate. That's an interesting analogy. We kind of do have the People's House in that we've got posts that we can put up, and we've got forums like these. Like the witnesses, they're not sitting in one place talking.
We also are providing the voices on MSP Wave, Steam Star Network, Whale Shares Radio. I think there's a couple others, Steam Speak, that's Fearsticken's Land of the Lost, and you know, all these different places, you know, and there's a perfect banjo meme. Hey, asshole, use some fucking headphones. Exactly. So anyway, yeah, there's so many places to get your voice out. You know, that's what our witness platform is with publishing and radio and voices on shows. And you guys are doing it with your posts and your information campaigns and these shows like Shadows Pub host. Come to these events, publish those posts, tell your friends, talk about it in communities, mod a community, volunteer. Helping the help channels. Tim Cliff and Dracos are killing it over there by themselves, but they need help. If you know stuff, share stuff.
Absolutely. You know,
That's
Katrina
so
Ariel
motto.
wrote a great post the other day about
Share
witnesses.
bet your information with one of us. Don't publish misinformation.
You know, that is the problem. We have to battle every single day. Misinformation, selfish information, people that are looking for everybody's interest but are really just looking for their own interest, you know. Wolves in sheep clothing.
It's a highly competitive environment, sir.
If people talk shit about Steam, I just go and I just buy $1,000 worth of Steam because I get angry because this is my business. And I'm in business with people that want to build Steam. Those that want to destroy Steam, I don't care about you guys. You're dead to me. Go and fuck yourself. I'm building Steam. I'm not destroying it. Okay? Take that propaganda shit away from me. You're bringing nothing to the table, and you know who I'm talking to. Incompetent fucks.
Refer to Ayn Rand's novels.
Crimson has commented here that she does chat community talk on the radio on Saturday afternoons in a couple hours and plays music, and a lot of it is newbie stuff or questions they were scared to ask, but find stuff like that. It will help. So the more information that we as members of the community put out that is thoughtful, researched, and accurate, the more we can help the other people that are coming onto the platform. And it's not just the witnesses that need to do that, it's all of us.
If I may, the word Senate was mentioned.
Yeah, that was an interesting term. Go ahead, Jack.
Well, I actually wrote a post about how we compare how our democracy here on Steem, on the Steem blockchain / Steem it, we see it on the front page or on the screen, so to say. That's our physical contact with it. Yeah, sure. Every democracy, every parliament house has its, the top 20, top 50, the people in power, and they have the backbenchers, or the people who are in there, but who don't have the majority vote and so on, which are the under 50 or under 20 witnesses in this case, to compare it. But every parliament, every senate has a speaker's stand for every single representative out there who gets their turn to say their piece. We don't have that. Our democracy does not have that. So, yeah, we may be able to write posts. Yes, thanks to you, Shadow, and this program, we have a place to voice our stand, our opinion, our complaints, our suggestions. But in the actual democracy of Steem, and I'll say Steam it just for practical purposes, we don't have that. It doesn't exist. I'm not complaining. I'm just stating it as it is. Who doesn't like the truth? Tough. Suck it up. The truth is the truth. This is a cold, hard fact about our democratic system here on our blockchain.
You gotta understand this isn't a democracy.
Yeah, this isn't a democratic system. I mean, that kind of doesn't inspire my confidence if a witness thinks this is a democratic system.
Oh, it is. If people are voting for somebody to represent them, to represent their best interests, that is a democracy. This is not a dictatorship. This is a freedom of choice. Everybody chooses. Everybody votes. Hence, we are democratic. That
It's
doesn't mean
not.
that we are like a political democracy of a country, but we can compare it. We can pull comparisons and say, well, why is this
Well,
not working?
but that is stating the obvious, that everything is subject to the popular opinion. But I'm not catering to necessarily the popular opinion. I want real facts and the ability to study them slowly, okay? I want a year to study things. I don't want 5 minutes to decide things. I'm not interested in a bureaucratic system to stagnate like Bitcoin was stagnated for years. We cannot allow ourselves to expand out into an establishment because we are still less than 1 million accounts.
I'm going to do my best to crush the democracy line of thinking. Number one, a brand new Steem user with 15 Steem power delegated to them does not have the same vote weight as somebody like Hagen or Grumpy Cat. Number two, democracy only functions correctly with 100% participation, and roughly 80% of all Steem users have never voted for a witness at all.
Well, the non-voting is kind of democratic because that happens in most countries.
It's freedom of choice.
Right, but then they become tyrannies.
Freedom of speech.
Well, true enough.
Well, don't turn Steem into tyranny.
90% of democracies in this world do not have the law which states that they must vote. Australia does, but
yeah, I know there's been conversation about making
that is actually an interesting idea. That is a progressive, interesting idea. That yes, you have to vote. What happens if you don't vote for a witness? Well, sorry, you cannot post. You have to vote for witness. I like it. I like that. What's your name? You just got my attention.
I mean, look.
On the second point, ANCAP, not to argue with you, but to debate the issue and to express my point on that, my stand on that. You mentioned that 15 SP new user, somebody with their own 100 SP invested, for example, well, that's where we're getting into the business side of thing as well. Sir Cork explained that excellently once. I didn't 100% agree with him, but I understood his point. Person who has invested their money here needs to have their say. So a person who has made this happen, whether they be an investor who has invested cold hard cash, as I like to call it, or whether they be an investor who has invested proof of brain and earned their SP, well, guess what? They are protecting their investment. Again, I don't necessarily have 100% agreement with Sir Cork on that point, but I do agree with that point that I just stated, that these people who have invested either proof of brain or cold hard cash do have the right to invest there, to respect and protect their investment,
And also
protect the best interest of Steem.
Since I was cited,
Okay, for a
Remember,
second.
remember that proof of brain is not the same as proof of I have a very high IQ. Okay, I mean proof of brain means that at a minimum you breathe. Okay, so the spectrum between the top and the bottom is very big. Okay.
He's right, and by definition, semantically, proof of brain means you're sapient and have matter in your skull bones. But at the end of the day, what we mean by it in the white paper premise is that you're going to contribute something in terms of questionable, subjective, determined by the end user, consumer market grade value. And that's the exchange for that Nathan explained earlier, exchanging value for, for gain or whatever. So, but to the point of this thing, it's proof of brain or financial. So I'm not going to disagree. Where he cited that we have a disagreement, Jack did, is in whether or not an investor should have a high stake, should be proof of stake based, as the system is designed, to give them higher power. Well, I do agree proof of brain value is important, and I don't disagree with that. But I do still agree with the premise that the guy with more skin in the game is more to get hurt.
Well, also the one that writes the best artificial intelligence chatbot that comments. I mean, we are training AI here, whether we like them or if we like them or not. That doesn't matter. We are the big sandbox here, and there are so many technologies that are being played. I mean, you have seen the Dare botnet that calls everybody hello there and blah 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 blah, copying and pasting each other, but there is proof of brain in that. Somebody's coding something and sitting with a watch and looking at block times and optimizing things. And to us, what it looks like to begin with is a storm of stupidity. What it will end up becoming is more and more intelligent until everybody's sitting with something that is better than Siri, and you all own your own thing, and there is so much proof of brain and artificial intelligence. You guys are like on the forefront of a platform that technology is tested on and is being used for something useful. So you could pat yourself on the back as you're all gonna get rich. You're all gonna get powerful.
And we're one of the few projects that are actually working on the blockchain. We may not see it as being functioning in the way we want it, but it is working. As David has pointed out, that the stake we hold in Steem is kind of an analogy to a corporation, in that if you hold 5 or 10 Steem, yeah, you hold shares, but you don't have the same kind of weight as the guy that holds 1,000 shares, and so on up the food chain. So the idea of equality and democracy, we really do have to kind of throw out the door.
Totally agree.
Democratic values do not have to be thrown out the door.
Pardon me?
Why would we throw out democratic values? If we're voting, we're voting for representatives. We're voting for our best interests. We want these people to protect the best interests of Steem. Isn't that voting? Isn't that literally?
It's in a democracy.
You don't need to define it like that, because you have direct influence on everyone. Send me a coin with a memo about whatever it is on your mind. If I don't read your blog, trust me, I look in my wallet. Ned looks in his wallet. We all look in our wallets. The best information comes through wallet transactions. You know that.
Hey, Alex has made the comment, you'll lose some of your most valuable minds if you make stake over brains. Unfortunately, we have to take that chance because it's the stake in any corporation that decides the direction that it's heading.
Can I ask you a question, Fearsticken? Because I think you've been here the longest, paying the most attention. You probably know. The difference between how much money is out there in external exchanges like Bittrex or Plentyx or Binance or whatever, Open Ledger, and how much is actually in wallet, in the chain, like users playing with it every day, the 60,000 users or whatever. In other words, is this system that we're all talking about right now, that we think is, all we have is a hammer, all we see is a nail, we need to fix this and that, but actually over there in the market, gazillions versus only 1 million here, how's that stack up, do you know?
Well,
Meaning it's more of an investment toy than blogging proof of brain. The question and the reason I'm going there is to give you the context. People in chat are saying if you make investment proof of stake more important than proof of brain contribution, that you'll lose everybody that uses the system, making it worthless. I say, well, how do we know that the people using the system give it worth? We need to compare, are the external markets moving more of the coin market cap than the internal use? And I don't know the ratio. What's out there moving around versus what's in here moving around.
As David suggests, there's far more in open circulation than invested. External markets are what moves the price.
Controversy? Anybody? I don't know.
Well, it says right there, 28%. See what Banjo said? 28% is liquid.
Yeah, it's right. 28.460%
It's the 1/3 of the
of
market is
supply.
out there just moving money around. That's going to happen as long as 2/3 of the market keep doing proof of brain. Is that what we're learning here?
Closer to 1/4 actually.
Okay, and proof of brain counts as anything from putting up a reasonably interesting post that other people find engaging and of value, which is subjective to everyone, let them do their thing, or building massive contributions to the core chain and in between anywhere, right? Even building a bot is creating markets that move money between consumers who willingly pay for them and makers who willingly make them.
Look, I'm looking for as many ways as possible to profit from Steem, from within the blockchain, from outside the blockchain. Is there money in onboarding people? Is there can you consult? Of course there is. Of course there is. And being a Steem witness enabled me to be a full-time Steem evangelist and help onboarding important people. That's one of the wonderful things, that we are a changing landscape. I've seen so many people come and go on Steem. Some stay around. I mean, there are you guys stay around in different characters, in different nicknames, all running around doing their own damn thing. But we all need the blockchain to work in order for our things to work. So that's the core thing we have in common, and at least we have a very fair system. We cannot make it more fair than it is. We can make it more unfair in those terms. Making big changes to the core economy is probably not the topic of discussion, or how much liquidity there is. I mean, we are spinning around 1/4 liquidity out in the market, out in open market. Anybody can buy that 1/4. That's 28% of Steem, right? That's one hell of a whale account. That's one huge hell of a whale account. That's with if some of the blue chip companies decide that, we cannot grow anymore. We are losing customers because of blockchain technology. Let's buy up Steem, and then they go ahead and they start buying up Steem. I mean, wouldn't you, if you had the money, if you had what they have, and they're afraid to lose market cap on the internet, so they will just buy Steem. I know, because they are buying Steem.
As David has commented, by definition, the invested SP can't be traded, so it's not those already invested that are moving the markets daily. Rhonda Case is asking here, I've wondered if there's a way to implement levels of proof of brain contribution where established users who are proven to produce commercial grade quality content get more per upvote than the new unproven users. That way they could also build a financial stake in the platform, whereas now it's difficult for quality content producers to compete with bid bots. It's an interesting concept.
No, the market cap has more power than the bid bots have. The bid bots are used by a lot of people every day. Shit posters, shit commenter, and some people that have something really important to say, and some people that have put a lot of work and are now paying for the marketing to be noticed by anyone, to build an audience. I think it's important that we continue doing this until we can't do it like this anymore. And I think SMTs are going to change the landscape a lot. of what we will be focusing on supporting in the future. Because we will have to support communities that are producing new things for the blockchain, and we also need to support good content creators and good front ends, etc., etc. I mean, there are more and more players, more and more props coming into the stage that you'll see. We're just gonna grow and continue with that for the next 20 years.
Captain Obvious is not in here, so I'm going to state the obvious. You know, we're all here for one reason. Everybody listening to this podcast, in the text, in the voice, everything. One thing we all agree on here. We care a whole lot about Steem. Whether we have differences of opinion, whether we get into semantics and democracy and all that, I understand what Jack is talking about. Steem, yes, like a lot of democracies that we know about. We have plutocrats here. We have oligarchs. We have people that have juice because they have high SP power. I'm simplifying this for me because I have a simple mind, but I'm a plankton, and we are the biggest part of Steem. That's where bid bots make their money from planktons, because a lot of us, we don't know how these things work when we first come on here.
Having Steem power is equal to having a mining rig with a lot of hardware put together.
Exactly. And that's the point I'm making, is that, you know, witnesses are very important. And I want to say thank you to every single witness that came in here. I mean, this is awesome. This is fantastic. This is something that should have happened a long time ago. And it's good that there's witnesses in here with differing opinions, because, yeah, that is sort of like a democracy, because you do have big whales or big witnesses and everything else, and they differ in opinion. And that is good for the platform. That is good that there's different ideas.
Don't be so forgetful also about that before we started bidbots, and we were the first one with Booster to have a bidbot system. Randowell was the first voting bot, but it was a random number, right? I mean, proof of brain, absolutely proof of brain, but Booster is becoming a monster that is doing so many things that we are like blown away with how we automate things now. And I'm very serious about putting shit into vending machines. It's starting to look like the normal thing to do in our universe.
Well, I think everybody's doing a good job. We all want to get to the same place. We all want Steem to be super duper, kick Facebook in the ass, Reddit, all these other things. But a lot of us are taking different roads. And that doesn't mean because one person's road is different from the other guy's road or the other gal's road. It's just different ways of getting there. That's it. And I mean, I respect all the witnesses on here. It's not an easy job. I've learned a whole lot about witnesses. It's expensive. It's hard work, keeping up, it's a lot of work. And some people that are witnesses, they got jobs. They got day jobs and stuff. They're not independently wealthy. So, you know, kudos to all you guys. And I think y'all are doing a good job. And I just want to say, as a plankton, I've learned so much in here from everybody, every witness that has talked and everything. And I appreciate y'all, be you a little witness or a new witness or a big witness or an old witness, that you keep Steem blockchain running. That's the bottom line. That's how the witnesses, the way I understand it, they are the blockchain. They're the ones that get the blocks and everything else.
So Patricia's made a comment that she doesn't have a problem with the bots, just how they're run and used. Anything that can will be exploited when it comes to making money. Rhonda K has responded with, I guess my point is simply that we'd like to see proof of brain worth more to balance the playing field, so we don't become pay-to-play platform. First,
oh, dude, we are looking at so much for just to solve those things.
I've heard some conversation going on, and not necessarily with you, but with some of the other bot owners, that you guys are moving towards trying to deal with the issue of the spammers that are using you. Is that becoming more widespread amongst the bot owners?
Well, for now, we are allowing it to happen in the comment section to spare you from trending shit posts. We are allowing it to happen because I see it as an idle thing. People are doing shit to try to make money. I would have done exactly the same thing if it was me that was in their situation. And I know that you wouldn't outsmart me. So I don't even want to bother outsmarting. We can build a culture. I mean, we are some kick-ass people in here. We can build a strong, tough culture in Steem, and I think we are building one. I think that...
I can't agree more on culture. Culture. That's what's going to change things.
You're not on Reddit here.
How do you feel about Grumpy Cat?
Well, I'm glad he removed his flag on my Simba song from Disney. So I don't dare to speak ill of the
You
cat.
own a bot. You freely admit you operate Booster. Everybody knows that. Whatever. Free economy, right? So you got a bot. The guy comes in and starts making terrorist threats about bots by attacking your constituent users. That you need to protect as a consumer grade product, right? So to stay alive, right? You got to help them to help you. So you got this guy that comes in and imposes demands, and almost every 100% but one or two of the bots rolled and did what he said. I don't feel good about that. Do you?
Well, what he said made sense about turning it down from 6 days voting period to 3.5 days. We took it down to 2.5 days.
Your business.
Can you
Not at all.
Can you explain why that makes sense? Because Grumpy Cat, even though he's the one that made the decree, has yet to really explain it. So maybe you could do that for us.
Well, the point of running Booster is is promotion. It's like gas at the gas station for your car to get somewhere. So if you are someone that wants to get somewhere, you have access to Steam power, to bandwidth that will take you to the top if you have enough money. It is a game of being seen, and it's just a game with a shitcoin. We are like playing football with a shitcoin, and everybody wants to win. And that's great, but it's a game. It's not real. All of this, we create stuff. We create content. We are the only thing that is real. Everything else is not, wouldn't have value without you in it.
So NCAP is asking, you can vote on a post up to 12 hours before payout. Why should a bid bot that is another Steemit account be bound to different rules? No effing way the devs can determine.
When you upvote late, you're not being seen. You're not going to trend on the last day. So it's like you make a post, you're proud of it, you did great, okay, but you have nobody watching you, nobody cares about you, have a great topic, you want to be seen, so you save up $200 and you spend it on upvote bots and you get yourself to trending, and now you're seen by everybody because there is money there and people don't like that other people win, so they want to go in and check, and then they see that, oh my god, this is a really good article, this is not a shit post, and then that person is gaining trust from somebody else in the community. It is a popularity contest. Every single minute counts. Every 3 seconds, look at the blockchain in real time. Every 3 seconds there is posts coming through, money coming through, transaction rewards, everything is going. You know that, you're witnesses.
So as David has made the comment, the late upvotes after 3 or 4 days are almost exclusively meant to hide the fact that bots were used for rewards, and that's a valid point, because that's basically what it boils down to. Is I haven't got enough rewards on there, so I'll just add some through a bot.
Yeah, but whether
we had a problem with circle jerking back then. Everybody was voting with, in the spiral way of doing it because it was the most profitable way to do. I don't like that. I don't think that is tasteful. It didn't make anything look beautiful, and I'm glad we are at a state now where it is not black market deals happening on Telegram, but it's right in your face, upvote bots that, don't be ashamed of this. It is the attention economy. If you are not gaining people's attention, you're not doing this right.
Dracos, you were going to say something there?
Yeah, I was gonna say whether we had the bid bots or not, we already had circle jerks, we already had spammers, abusers, scammers, all these things. So I don't think bid bots are the core of the problem. The problem is human nature, because whatever we have on this platform, people will always find a way to maximize their income, whether it's through legit blogging or abusing. So that's my view on the matter.
We have battle tested Booster in Russia, so we know how tough it can be, how the hacker culture is worldwide. If there is free money to get anywhere, just as much as a penny, okay, a tenth of
I
a
know.
penny, they will come, and they are already here. You can't stop that. You can't stop the hunger for money. Just can't.
Katrina has commented here. She says, going back to Rhonda Kay's suggestion about evaluating the value of quality content, her thoughts are quality content gives validation to the blockchain from a non-cryptocurrency point of view. Coming to the blockchain as an author, I'm looking for a publishing platform and marketing platform, as well as an investment. There's also a huge social, cultural benefit. But shit posts don't help the platform attract more professionals. We need more well-funded curation guilds and quality content rewards. I can see your point there, Katrina, but what happened prior to the bid bots was there were curation guilds, and some of them were very well funded, and they became circle jerks. So it works both ways.
Well, except for my guild, we upvoted everybody that posted. For 1 year we did that. Remember? That was before the bid bots. We voted for everybody because I knew that if we're gonna succeed, we need to spread Steem long, far to everybody. If we're gonna be the strongest network on the internet, we need everybody to be involved in everybody's shit. It's just how it becomes itself. You guys are self-fulfilling little prophecies. You speak things into existence. You guys are gods,
Katrina, Rhonda commented that she knows of several mainstream publishing representatives and authors who have come to Steem it and run away screaming. Yeah, I could understand that they wouldn't quite be able to understand it.
You guys all have a chance to become whatever you are best at. Grow and be rewarded big time. Just wait till the market cap goes up and your followers have more money.
As David has commented, that what we actually need is a larger content consumer base, and we can get that by better incentivizing curation. Everybody tries to be a content creator, and a lot of people suck at it. And that's
but if you suck at content creation, maybe you don't suck in business, or maybe you suck in business. Maybe you're good at visions. Maybe team up with somebody that have the qualities that you lack.
Crimson has pointed out people forget commenting and upvoting can actually earn you more as a minnow than posting.
Useful people find their, they get lucky. Useful people, they will have their day. You mark that in your calendar that if you're useful to Steem, rewards are not far away. If you're completely useless, congratulations, wearing yourself out to have enough Steem power so you can power down.
And Awaken to Life, you've got something you want to say.
Yes, I'm sorry, I can't pronounce your name.
Versticken.
Christian, I'm sorry. I think you made one great point. I think everybody can succeed on Steam. And I know this because I started from zero. And I invested a lot of time into Steemit. A lot of people know this here. And I think too many people also post one picture posts, don't invest time, they don't produce great quality, and then they're complaining about bitbots and bitbots that, bitbots this, flagging wars this. And I think too many people are making excuses.
You know,
Because for me,
let me say something from a Bidboot owner's perspective. So Jerry's posts were trending the other day, and then he also invested in Booster. And I was like, this guy is fucking stupid. He's fucking insane. What is with this guy? $2,000 upvotes, and he's paying for all of this? So I didn't check his post, right? I mean, who the fuck goes and check Jerry's posts anyway? I mean, they are long. They take my whole damn day away. But then I was like curious, why the fuck is he paying me to trend so high on this particular post? So my wife was sleeping, the dogs were sleeping, I was sneaking to the nearest iMac, okay? I was wearing a hoodie so nobody could see me, and I taped in front of the camera just in case anybody should be spying on me as I was going into Jerry Banfield's D-Live video, and I watched the whole damn thing. And the damn boy is making more sense than the entire spectrum of financial newspaper is making these days. I was like, I'd be happy to give him a refund from Booster or whatever he was upvoting, because that was good information in one package there. You know, he really had something to say. His next D-Live was about crying in public, you know, and that just makes me cringy. So I just, you know, took some sleeping pills and went to bed and acted like I never seen anything. But he was good in that video. He was good in that video. And I'm going to be honest and say, you know, he deserved that attention and he fucking paid for that attention. No wonder he's crying in his next video. That was expensive.
Well, here's my thing about pay to play. And, you know, I don't want to get off on this, but I mean, I think many people are missing the point. If you want to talk about proof of brain, and you want to talk about bringing people to the platform, and you want to talk about this being the biggest, best
People
platform,
want to come on this platform so that they can play.
Yeah, let Rhonda finish.
And people want you want to draw people to the platform. Yet you have a post that's worth $700 or $800 because people have purchased those votes, and yet it only has 10 views. 10 people saw that post, okay? And then you have a post that's worth $1 or $2, and you have 100 to 200 to 300 views on that post. People are reading it and they're upvoting, and their upvotes, you know, they may not be whales, but they're upvoting. Now something's broken with that system, because which post actually brings more value to Steam? The one with 10 views or the one with 100 views?
What do you believe?
Can anybody? Is there anybody that can address that? Because Poetic Snake just made a point that I noticed earlier that you can't even see the views, the number of views on your post anymore. And to me, like that was the main thing I looked at, was that I was actually reaching an audience. I honestly care more about views than I do about upvotes or the payout.
I noticed that this morning.
That was changed
The
today.
people we cater to, it's the money, and people are being onboarded. I'm helping, my company is helping onboarding investors, and they want to come on Steam to play. They want to play the game. They see that there's a lot of people here, there's a lot of money here. They're not coming to shit post. They're coming to play the game. They have a brain. They want to use that. You know, it's finally a place for them.
But if you have to pay to get the views to play the game, then all of that's the minority.
No, you don't have to pay a dime. You don't have to pay anything.
The majority of people that Steam claims to be trying to attract to take the game away from Facebook are not going to want anything to do with the pay-to-play system. They were going to want their posts to get as much exposure as the posts that are purchased. And so, you know, I think that this is a big problem for Steam, and I think that I've already seen it in the people that I've tried to attract to Steemit and who will not have anything to do with Steemit. The very people that you need, that Steemit needs to take it to the next level, are the people who are seeing this rigged system, and they're like, I will have nothing to do with Steemit because it is totally not what is going to take.
Yeah, well, there are people that are not participating in World Cup too because their team suck and they don't play the game right, and it's like it's hard. It is hard. It's fucking supposed to be hard if you're gonna get $6,000 worth of upvotes trending there. You're gonna have to work for that.
If you want to put it into Facebook, if you want to go after that market, then I'm telling you, Steemit is going about it the wrong way. That market will never make the switch at this rate.
Again, Steem and Steem the blockchain is not the same thing.
Rondek, one thing I don't agree. I think maybe if, what we are doing wrong is inviting these people and tell them they can earn hundreds and $200, $300 right away. You can't do that. Just like in life, you gotta earn it. You gotta put in time. You can't expect to come on a platform, write 2 great posts that are maybe worth $800 in a year after you invest time, create relationships, create friendships. Then you might get that 800, but you can't expect to come in 1 month, write 3 posts, and then quit and focus on beating bots, focus on flagging wars and saying how it's unfair. I think that's not how life works, and that's not how Steemit works at all.
Well, I'm gonna tell you that
I invested time, and it's paying off. It's certainly paying off more than Facebook and all the other, or Instagram and all the other stuff. If you invest time on Steemit, and you focus on creating relationships, friendships, I'm telling you, you're going to start earning money. I'm sure of it because I lived through it. I'm here now for 8 months, and in the beginning, my posts, I have posts that I wrote for half a day, 3,000 words. I mean, great posts, which I saw trending page, and I was also focusing on that trending page. How is this possible? This guy, 1 picture post or shit post, and he's getting like 300, 400. Why am I not getting? The reason is why, because I wasn't engaging enough. I was not going on other people's posts and commenting and trying to create relationships. I wasn't doing that in the beginning. And then I also quit for 1 month, but then I returned and I tried again and again, because that's how life works. You can't expect to come here and earn $500 in a post in 1 month. I mean, you have to put in time, just like you go to work every day, your regular job, you have to invest time. You have to build your profile. You can't expect to earn it right away.
I agree with that. I actually agree very much with that. The problem is that people are coming here if it's, wanting views and they're wanting to build an audience. Well, here you got the trending pages that may turn everything else into noise. And if they're looking for views and they're looking for readers and they're getting buried by shit posts that are elevated to the top because they're purchased, that's where the problem that I'm talking about comes in.
I agree with you. I agree with you.
Can I say something?
Like 100%. That is a problem. I mean,
Dracos, go ahead.
It's not even a question. I agree with you 100%. But I just feel that a lot of people that I met also don't want to invest time. They put half-assed posts. They don't put thought into it, and I only hear of them complaining. I agree. That's one of the biggest problems.
I think most of us realize that, Awaken, that there is an element that they don't get instant returns and they're going to complain and they're going to run off. But there are some other concerns as well. Dracos, I think Rashid wanted to speak.
Yeah, when I started on Steem, I started from zero. Literally, I had the same amount of Steem power allocated as any other minnow, and 9 months later, I'm a witness. I'm at rank 25. Now that doesn't happen by miracle or by chance. It takes hard work, dedication. I spent most of my day on Steem, writing code, helping people, running my servers, fighting abuse. I did a lot of stuff in the last 9 months. And the take-home message is you have to dedicate yourself. If you want to earn, you have to put something in. You have to keep blogging, don't lose faith, give your best, and it'll pay off. But I've seen people come and go. I've seen witnesses come and go. After a month, I've helped people, many witnesses, set up their thing, and after a month or two, they just quit because they didn't. I don't know what happened, but to me, they didn't have the motivation to keep pushing it and to better themselves. So I think everyone has a potential to become something big or someone big on Steam. All it takes is motivation and the will to do it. And
As David commented earlier here, what we've seen on this platform for 2 years now is that most people show up, invest nothing, find out they can't earn anything without posting content, then try to throw up whatever shit they think others want to see, then get angry when their posts aren't upvoted. They come here to try to do something, but they've never been blogger, content creator, make no effort to sell themselves via networking, then make no investment either, despite this being a delegated proof of stake platform. If more users were incentivized to simply consume the content and vote on it, and if it was explained to them that this is still a social media blogging platform which requires actual effort to build an audience, and if their expectations were better managed, perhaps the culture might actually change. We need more readers, sharers of content, not necessarily more creators of it. We need better creators, more readers, followers, and sharers. And those readers, followers, and sharers need to be able to understand that they actually can make money. It's maybe a little bit more work, but they can make it.
I think what I would like to see, even though I'm not here, my voice is not strong. I mean, people know me here that I've been always trying to help people create content, help them with their content. What I would like to see is there's a lot of great ideas on Steam, but they don't have a support behind it. Like I'm gonna I'm not gonna just only talk about Steam Engine. There's a lot of Steam Engine shadows, a lot of curations that are great. They're promoting these great content creators, but they need support behind it. So what I would like to see is from the top guys who have to delegate to these people. Like one of the programs I saw is Truffle Pig. I don't know if you guys heard about it. Basically, he comments on your posts, and he has a program where he says how much this post should be worth or something like this. He leaves a great comment on it. There's a lot of great initiatives that are coming, but they need support behind them. They need support from the big guys who want to see these changes. They want to see the great content on Steam. They want to see Steam grow. But these guys, little guys, need more support from the big guys. I think there's a huge gap between those little guys who have great ideas and the big guys who can support them. I think that should be closer.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
before relying on the big guys to give them support, I think they should engage and interact with the others first by commenting, by going on the chats, by whatever means, from getting their audience from elsewhere, from Facebook, Twitter, whatever. The important thing is,
I agree with you 100%, because I know some of these initiatives and great curations also, but they're putting in the time. I know some of these guys, they're putting in the time, a lot of time, and they're getting nothing from it first and barely attention from it. So
How good are you? How good are you yourself at bringing people up to other people's attention when you see talent?
Me personally, well,
Yeah.
I can only speak. A lot of people know me here, and they know what I do also in Steam Engine and in other groups, and with me when I'm trying to help people and everything. My actions can only speak for myself. I really can't speak for myself, you know.
Well, I mean,
Shadows knows also.
going forward, I mean, being right now and going forward, be more general.
What I try to do
That
also.
our entire ecosystem works so much faster and better when you guys are collectively being more generous downwards and outwards and helping people and decentralizing things and self-organizing things and just mingle and do stuff that works.
I know it works. I mean, my group that I'm one of the creators there. is actually promoting only engagement, friendships, relationships. Shadows knows this Steam engine. We have specific rules in our post promotion where people have to engage into other posts with other people, leave genuine comments before they can post their link. I mean, I think that is the whole point of this, to create relationships, friendships. Once you do that, you're gonna get everything else with it. Once you help enough people, you're gonna help yourself as well. That's how I go through Steam. I mean, that's how I do it.
And that's the definition of a social network. Is being social. So it's not, first, people need to dissociate the idea of making money and being social. Start being social at first, and the money will follow.
I agree with you 100%. And I've been trying, whoever I talk to, I try to explain this to them. I mean, I always tell them, I'm telling you, don't focus on your sense on the go and engage with people. The more you engage, the more great comments you leave on other people's posts, the more you read their posts and leave genuine comments, because that's what's missing on Steam Engine. The more connections you will make, and everything else will follow with it. That's what I see. You know, that's how I see it. The more you engage it, the more real you are to the platform, the more real platform will become for you.
And unfortunately, the attraction of money on this platform is what tricks people in thinking that they're gonna make a quick buck, especially with the trending page, which I find utterly ridiculous. I think it should be removed. So it gives them a false sense of success. But success, as I said earlier, doesn't happen overnight. You have to work hard and keep working hard, and it'll happen. So.
Okay, I want to hold on here. I want to acknowledge the fact that there is another witness in the house. Cervantes is present. He's a little bit late. He got the notice a little bit on the late side. And a while ago, Jack Miller said that he had a question he wanted to ask for Sticken, so I'd like him to go ahead with that. And then I see Rhonda has got something she wants to say. And I have to wrap up the recording by 2 o'clock because I have a offline meeting at 2:30. I will say that I think this is a conversation that obviously can continue. You're welcome to continue it here today, and I think also we will have another witness chat on the 19th of May. And again, it'll be at 11 a.m. on the Saturday morning. So, Jack, go ahead and ask your question to Versticken.
Versticken, if I pronounced that right, don't hold it against me if I didn't. One of the questions I have for you is more on the economic side of things when it comes to bid bots, and I'm not picking on you, but you are the person here who owns a bid bot, and no one else showed up who owns a bid bot as far as I know. Correct me if I'm wrong. So I have to ask you, if, for example, you've mentioned that you want Steem to go to the moon, and we've all agreed that we want Steem to be the crypto that changes the future and changes our futures as well. Why then can't we just simply make the bid bots accept Steem only, in the sense that we make Steem the workhorse and that the demand for Steem rises, so that our Fort Knox, as I like to call it, our SBD, is not being put into the system where the demand for SBD is almost practically higher than for Steem, so to say, as far as us users, was mentioned earlier, the planktons. Why not use just Steem if we are looking at the best interest of Steem economically? I'm not talking about posts, I'm not talking about the money that we get on posts and so on. I'm purely talking economics and Steem and the value of Steem.
Well, that's a good question. A long question.
And short answer.
No, I was just dwelling on it. You know, yes, I was an early adopter of the new economic consensus in Steem, and it's you know, it's a chaos. It's a chaos. I don't know exactly how to explain it. Have you looked at Booster Steem D data? Have you seen those? Have you seen how many pages he votes for every time?
I don't want to put you on the spot. Like I said, in all fairness, you are the person that is here, and it's not fair for me to just ask you this one question. But it is a notion that I wrote about, and I said this suggestion could solve the economic side of the issue as far as the bid bots goes. Can I at least ask you to think about it, look into it, and discuss it maybe with some of the other guys running the bid bots to see what they think? And we're talking about the best.
I think the first thing people are going to tell me is that I'm being greedy. That I'm being greedy for taking the most valuable token in the system, which is Steem. I don't understand why anybody would send me Steem to receive a fucking upvote, you know. You're risking when you're doing an upvote. Maybe nobody wants to see it. Maybe it's a loser post. Maybe you're losing money on that post, you know. Or maybe it's a winner. Maybe you're good at making a headline, a picture, and a first sentence. You know, maybe you're making good money on this. So, but if I dump the SPD and I say, yeah, you can do business with Booster, but you cannot use SPD, then the SPD holders are like, why are you being so uncool for a sticker? I thought you were supporting the ecosystem, and well, the ecosystem has a SPD inside of that. I mean, we don't. It is part of the ecosystem. I mean, we are guaranteeing basically that we won't allow it to go below $1. You know, and the more people understands and allow that fact to sink in, it becomes obvious that you want to own share in Steem. You know, you want to own share in the biggest casino on the internet under development, and you also want to hold the SPD because the SPD is most likely going to be an effective currency, a very effective, fast, easy currency to buy and sell stuff with everywhere else.
Well, earlier on it was mentioned that there is talk about pegging SPD back to $1. So if that happens, then these crazy fluctuations that we've seen with SPD going from $1 up to $12, down to $3 and so on, won't be happening as often. However, Steem is our workhorse. Steem is the future. Steem is the currency that we want to see up at $100,
Right.
$200, $500.
And we will, no problem. Anyone with 2 brain cells and a lawyer can lift this market cap up to more than what it is.
I understand that, but I'm just suggesting that maybe you should consider it and see how it would affect the value of Steem and the demand for Steem on the whole market, because we've actually got to a point now where we've seen the debt go so high as far as the internal debt goes so high that we've got payouts in SP Steem instead of SPD.
Crimson Class made the point that it's not totally possible to control the outside markets overvaluing SPD regardless of the peg.
You know, if the car is worth more in use than it is worth as a park, you want to have it running 24/7.
Okay,
just SPD too, let it circulate. See, the more vending we are doing in SPD, the more demand is for that. The more, I mean, you can choose Steem, SPD, exactly as you want. But both are in the ecosystem. So when you come to my shop, I want to just say yes to accept crypto. You know, plural.
First, I've thrown the notion out there. If you can, like I said, if you guys can have a look at it, consider it, and see the benefits to it, fine. If you don't have the time for that, fine. Again, that's your choice. I'm not forcing it. I'm just putting the notion out there, which I see as an economically viable way of promoting Steem within our ecosystem and not contributing to the internal debt where we're getting payments in Steem instead of, well, where we're getting, the debt has gone too far. We can all agree upon that right now. And that's a temporary situation, and it will be better. But we don't need to, as was mentioned earlier by ATS David, we don't need to contribute to that issue. We can actually use the bots, talking economically, in a way that promotes the ecosystem and builds Steem up there.
And Crimson's also pointed out here, she says, I'm a peg for opponent, just saying that if Asian says something brain dead and Korea goes wild and decides to pay $6 overnight, it's hard to tell a minnow not to immediately get excited and dump, then be disappointed when the system regulates. So that's something else that needs education around it. And there's a lot of education needed on that. It's certainly something to be thinking about and pondering the ramifications of. Rhonda, I'm going to give you the last word.
Well, I feel like I'm beating a dead horse. But the problem with that is that I think a whole lot of people are talking and a whole lot of people are not listening. And they're hearing what they want to hear and they're assigning things to it that they want to assign. And that's normal, I guess. But I just think that, well, I mean, I would challenge anyone to tell me I'm not being involved and engaged in the platform. I don't even have to defend my, what I've done on this platform since June of 2016. So when you look at my wallet, you can see that my SP only peaked up to about 900. I never broke 1,000 on SP. And this is despite, producing content and posting. And it did slow down for a while because of frustration. But, and I didn't power down, but I powered down recently. And I have never used bid bots. I think back in July of last year, I tried one. I haven't done it. I've done this the organic way. And, I've engaged with the community. What I'm trying to say is if I were here for the money, if that were my motivation, I would have been gone a long time ago. So I'm proof that there are people here on Steemit and building these communities who are in this for other reasons. And, I'm definitely that. But see, now I see that being compromised when the new users started using Steemit back in, 2 years ago or whenever it was a different environment. Now, when you have a new user who comes on, who is willing to work and do the networking and try to, build their position here, they're competing against steroid pumped athletes of purchased votes. It is an unlevel playing field. And I'm not saying trash bid bots. My point is if we're going to adopt bid bots and we're going to adopt purchased votes as a way to move this platform forward, then we need to be also looking at the other side of the equation, looking at how to make quality content worth more than shit posts. And you say by curation, well, if the curators are not funded, if the curation teams are not funded, then curation doesn't do the job either. It is unbalanced. So I'm not saying do away with bid bots. I'm saying let's start looking at ways to make the most valuable content on our platform
Rhonda,
worth
let me
posting.
just point out one thing, that bid bots are maybe not going to last very long. With SMTs on the horizon, we might have completely different priorities soon, and we cannot, prioritize anybody's post because we will be pointing our guns differently. So if I were you, I would shit post as much as you could right now and get as much out of it before, it stops.
You'll never get around to shit post.
Or better yet, don't shit post. Make some quality content, and move that up to the trending. I see you got MVests there. Use it for something. I mean, make more.
Yeah, I have my reputation as a writer is worth more than a shit post, but that's okay. I mean, that's what I take on myself.
Okay, I have to close this recording off. I don't mean for the conversation to stop. It can carry on, but the recording is going to end at this point. So you've been listening to the Steem Witness Chat hosted by Shadows Pub on the Steemit Ramble Discord and broadcast on the Steem Star Network. Thank you for listening, and until the next time, it's all about community. And this